Yes. Welcome to The Invasion, session 49. I'm sure that's where we're at. Is that right? That is right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, that'll do. Close enough. Session 49. Where are we here? It is the 5th of May, 2021, which, Colin, is the anniversary of the start and end of the 14th icon.
Yeah,
Yes. And it's also the day I got my first car. Yes. And it was my ex's birthday as well. So a lot of things happened on this day. I'm sure to others also. So yeah, there we have it. The 5th of May. And was it Revenge of the 5th? Is also another thing people say.
No, don't bring that on us.
Yeah. So there we are. I am Ryan, the GM. Something. Here are the players.
Hello, I'm Tom. Today means nothing to me. It is the anniversary of nothing. In this game. But yes, I am playing Elchris, the barbarian elf, otherwise known as Stormboy. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Alexander, and tonight I'll be playing Fleabite the Skaven, who's still pretty terrible at everything.
And also, good evening from me, Colin, who is playing Vanger, Dwarven Cleric-y Druidy guy.
Yep. Now, at some point, Alexander, you're going to have to stop saying he's pretty terrible at everything when he's king of everything in the game. You know that, right?
He can be terrible at being king, and then
I think we know Fleabite would be terrible at being king.
Demonstrant.
Oh dear. But yeah.
Great and terrible as the dawn would be.
Treacherous as the sea.
Oh dear. Yep. Something. The foundations of the earth. I say that because I'm trying to also fetch a bottle of juice from your bin.
Love me and despair.
What a lad she was, you know? What an absolute lad Galadriel was.
I loved how dramatic and over the top they did that. Yeah, it was just so silly and yet absolutely joyous.
I think because it leans into the Fae and over the top elven nonsensey side of the fantasy that like Tolkien was really into, because they take themselves so super seriously the way they're presented, but like almost severe is how I would describe the elves. And that was severe in how over the top it was as a scene. But
Tolkien's elves are interesting like that because they are like fey creatures that are almost otherworldly.
They are literally otherworldly though. They are literally.
They are just people though, right? They just are people who live normal lives and like have fucking beds they sleep in, and they have a society. They're people. And there's something that really.
Elrond walks into the small council meeting. We are a society. Yep.
Yeah. It's just really interesting because quite often when they're portrayed in that more sort of fey way, they're so mysterious to you that you can't imagine them having something akin to a human life, like almost like they only exist when they're doing weird bullshit.
Yeah, like the idea of an elf having to like go to the fridge for a drink or go to the bathroom, you know, in the sense of the fantasy equivalent of those things, isn't something that people necessarily attribute to them. It is always that time that cool elf fought a dragon, you know, as opposed to that time that elf tripped on a branch and stubbed his toe. It's an interesting one, but severe is definitely how I would describe them. I think that's obviously so many people have borrowed that from a. They've either borrowed it or tried to invert it, because I think Dragon Age tried to do the opposite, where the elves were super like fey-like way back when in Dragon Age, and then just as humans appeared, that diluted elven power and grace, and they kind of became like second fiddle to the humans in that. So I find that's usually what you end up experiencing is Tolkien, or something trying to specifically not be Tolkien. That's right.
Well, to varying degrees. Like, the great example is TV tropes, right? If you go to their page for vampires, it's called Our Vampires Are Different. You go to their page for elves, it's called Our Elves Are Different. Ogres, giants, orcs, same thing. You go to their page for dwarves, it's called Our Dwarves Are All the Same. Because everyone just does token dwarfs almost verbatim, whereas people do tend to change up other things and maybe reinterpret them. Like
Do you mean
there's
orcs
a lot
verbatim?
of
Sorry.
just do tokens sort of dwarf style. Like if you look at the elves in Warhammer, obviously a huge token influence, but they're not just token, right? Tokens elves weren't ancient Greek, you know. There's also like things like what am I trying to think of? You have things like the Divinity theories, which focus more on that sort of natural aspect, where they're more
Quite feral in a way, almost.
They are, yeah. They're sinuous creatures that eat flesh to like obtain memories from it, and like you could look at the Night Elves again, who have been watered down severely. They're trying to go back in that a little bit, but original conception of Night Elves was that they were quite feral, quite aggressive, generally isolationist. Like they had a beautiful ancient society, but they had sort of deliberately chosen to sort of step away from that and become something a bit more close to the earth. And
Which
you
is
have elements of that in other settings too.
No, it's an interesting thing to like play about with these kind of tropes. I think it's another reason why the changes that came up from D&D recently, obviously, about the trying to move away from all elves are this, or all orcs are this, or all dwarves are this. I think it is good to move away from that shit. Because well,
and then everyone's dwarves are all just like, I mean, it's like you see that like the night elves are quite distinct. There's obviously a bit of influence of things like the drow in them, but they're miles different from the drow. No one would mistake the two for each other. And then you have the dwarfs who are just they're just token dwarfs, but with like slightly funnier technology. That's pretty much just it. They're just token dwarfs. Yeah, they live in mountains. They're all Scottish, vaguely Nordic.
I know it's something I've always tried to do. Is like my default is to just make them all Scottish because that is the trope of them, and then I go try to make them as Norse as I possibly can, and it's like I can't do Norse accents, so yeah, and then just becomes
yeah. And if you do that, it comes out really offensive.
If anybody wants to see my really bad Norse accent dwarves, just look at some of the early stuff I did in my Friday game, because I have recorded me doing terrible dwarven.
Glarahagen sounds pretty.
Yeah,
is that like a Nordic name or is that more Germanic? I'm not sure.
Hagen?
Hagen. Yeah.
Maybe that's more Germanic than Nordic.
Rhys Davies was trying to do more like Northern English by the sort of Flanders vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, any of that works, right? There are very few Northern European sort of things you could do with a dwarf that wouldn't feel quite fitting.
I think the most common trope is just gruff, right?
Yeah.
Gruff. That's it. And gruff sounds like a dwarf name.
No one ever does their dwarves French, though.
No. But that's because elves are more likely to be French for some reason.
I find your mining equipment very substandard. Yeah.
Yep.
No.
That sounded as bad as Stephen's attempt at French.
It was very, very poor.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you remember from last time?
We fought.
Did indeed. Anything else? No.
We bet the blood giant monster, and then the old man who was possibly some sort of watcher, elder guy, beckoned us through to a room. Possibly because of something to do with Eltrus.
I am the chosen one.
No, he was clearly pointing at Fleabite.
One of us is the chosen one.
Oh dear. I'm sure it'll be fine. Whoever is the chosen one, you know. Yeah. Okay. Anything else happen worthy of note?
He wandered about.
Yeah, we need to try and track her down.
Okay. Let me just make a small note here. Okay, so based on that, we have the goals in place, which are convince Charleston to reclaim his house unless he's in it, get Sarah home alive,
Five.
alive, uncover what the Watcher's ritual in the sewers was, uncover the Noah Glint secret. You know, it's been so long since we've checked in on that I actually forgot they were called Noah and Glint. Test the Watares of the Watchers. And we've got some personal goals. Fleabite, what's your personal goal?
To establish a place to lay low.
And Vanger.
Mine is continues to be to find the thingy. You know, investigate the Belmthak connection. There you go. That's the word.
Yeah.
Find the thing is close enough in my book.
And Iltris.
I got really confused there because it moved. My goal is to earn the title of the Chosen One.
Indeed. So that's our goals. Yeah. So I think that's everything I normally do before a game, just making sure my mental checklist isn't burnt out of my brain. So the scene as we last saw it was the big blood giant being defeated. The old man clapping his hands and being like, "Brilliant! The test is complete. You must be the chosen one. Let's go and talk about it." As he wanders away after like curing the poisoned condition from a flea bite and stuff.
Yeah, that was good.
Making his, surviving acolytes fall in line. And yeah, I think we'll have that mini pause as he's leading people down the corridor to then have you deal with what you need to deal with in that moment. So, and by that I mean Sarah. So who's...
we should... hold on. I'll go tell her it's safe. There you go.
Well, I guess Fleabite tells her it's safe telepathically. Stay put.
Because I don't know you did that, right? Just to double check.
Yeah, you don't know.
Didn't think I knew. It's entirely possible I could have forgot. It's funnier if I go and get her anyway. It makes sense too.
Because I do have a psychic link with you as well.
But it's not...
Yeah.
Do you broadcast at the same time or individually though, right? Because I thought it was... yeah. Because it's not like... Because keep in mind, the other rat character from the Monday game has the same type of power, but it's always everybody gets everything on the link, or not.
Is rat character a polite way of saying rat bastard? Sorry, Callum, I love you.
And no exceptions made for Alexander, apparently. So, yeah.
I don't know him that well, right, okay?
But yeah, so I also love the idea that Fleabite does that just to win the race of telling her. Like, that seems petty enough that Fleabite would do that, to be fair.
It's probably the wise choice anyway.
So, yeah, you go and get her, essentially. So you'll see her just like hugging a wall with her spear in the dark. Because you can see in the dark, right? So
I can, being a dwarf.
Yeah, so you'll approach her and she clearly just looks like she's like edging her way along the wall with her hand, like slowly like going very like finding her feet and using the spear to like pathfind, essentially. Do you give her a warning before you approach?
Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably, give a few, not quite shouting, but speaking loud enough that, to give the effect of urgency. Sarah, where have you? Oh, there you are.
And she'll say, Vanger, is that you?
Yes, it's me. Don't worry. Don't point the snake this way.
Which way are you?
Give me a second. Couple of, and then I will. I was doing that because I just imagined that it's still going to take Vanger a second or two to get there, like after he's already like close enough to be talking. Because
like close enough to see her as well. Yeah, it's like you'll at least be 60 feet.
I'll see her from what, like 120. It's quite a
Is
Anyway,
it 120 for dwarves?
no, I
God,
think it's just 60 for
yeah.
dwarves.
I was gonna say, dear gods, they've got good eyes if that's the case.
I mean, they do have good eyes.
Mhm.
I will.
Mhm.
I will touch her hand. Say, don't worry. It's
She'll
just me."
yelp a little bit at that. We'll go, oh, hello.
It's just me. Just me. Come on, you'll be in the light in a second.
Yeah, and you can like shuffle her back up to the party.
Yeah, I will do that.
Did we win then?
It's complicated, but yes, I think we did. There was. It's all very strange. So just be a little cautious. But it all seems to be. The hostilities are over.
Yeah. Kind of just grips a little bit tighter onto your arm. You can probably just tell she's either less reassured or more reassured. It's one of those. You know, she's reacting in some way, but she just grips a wee bit tighter as you lead her back to the party. Then I think she takes like a sharp intake of breath as she sees just the floor of that room when you walk into it. You know, covered in bits of people.
There was some. It was definitely a fight.
And you can see her like huff up the spear a bit in one of her hands to almost like get a better grip of it. She goes, so I see. Any of our lot injured?
No, thankfully no. At this point, would it be worth mentioning to her that Xarxes is not with us?
Nah.
What do you think?
It's fine. We'll just like he can just be away, right? It's one of those we know he's gone, right?
Okay.
And she'll know that too.
Just intuitively.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I will. In that case, no need to worry her. I will.
It's the thing about Xarxes' character, or Dylan's like DCC, is that he could just have vanished, became one of these people, ran off, came back
Yeah.
at any point as I was following you the whole time as this random villager.
It's fine. So yeah, I'll just lead her through. We're all. I mean, I've had better days, knocking my head a few times, as if agreeing with myself.
She takes a look at Fleabite and gasps a little bit at how injured Fleabite looks.
Yeah, Fleabite's probably like holding an arm, stooped over quite a lot, like then scurry over and like grasp the spear, walk away with it.
And I think like she maybe doesn't realise what you're doing at first, then she goes, oh, of course, and then lets go of it. As you're like tugging on it.
Also, to clarify, I will have let go of her hand by then.
That's fine, yeah. I think she maybe just like unhooked from you at the shock of Fleabite in the first place, because she maybe put her hand up to her mouth to go, while holding the spears like a walking stick in the other hand. And then, yeah, Fleabite comes up and just goes, yeah, takes the spear. And then the old man goes, come along! Let's go!
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I think these are led through a couple of tunnels. And the place goes from, clearly this is just, it's been something long ago, right? This cave structure, but it's obviously just fell to, half ruin, essentially. Because parts of it look like they're carved into the walls, other parts are just clearly just bits of cave. And there's like corridors that are like caved in as well, that clearly look like they were like full on structures, so it seems like there's been cave-ins and people have just carved through softer rock to get around it. And you're led into like a fairly heavily scented room, or incensed room, and it's got a lot of kind of like silks and stuff hung places to make it look prettier than it actually is, because it's clearly a cave that you're in, but it's done it to look almost like a very nice kind of den. And there's like cushions and stuff sat around, and there's like a big brazier in the middle with a big fire in it to heat the place up, and it's giving off a lot of light. And the old man shuffles in and looks around and just like vaguely gestures to like cushions and things around.
But sneezes.
So he's kind of gesturing as if have a seat, but he's not saying that. He's just
Oh, yes, could do with a wee rest. And then he sort of very unceremoniously just
like,
dumps himself down.
Sarah sits at like the other side of the old man, at your side, keeping you between him and her.
Okay.
Just kind of using, giving herself a safety net, Fleabite, you.
Probably go up to the fire and start just trying to get the blood out of everything.
How though? Just by cauterizing, or like what?
Just the shaking, and like a dog that's just got covered in blood. And just starting to shake it off and just ring out.
We have a nice Taylor Swift music video moment for Fleabite there. Yeah. What about Eltris?
Yeah, I don't think I'll get anything to lose by just having a seat next to the Vanger and Sarah.
Yeah. And the old man's just like slowly wringing his hands as if like anticipatory, looking around, just smiling at everybody. And a couple of people walk in, clearly like acolyte type people that you saw before and murdered before. And he looks at them and like snaps his fingers a couple of times at them, and they quickly like run away. And he just kind of like his slightly serious face kind of melts back into kind-looking old man face after that, and he looks back at everybody and says, "One moment, I shall attend." And he just starts rubbing his hands again, and just kind of staring at where they left, but just standing there. I think Sarah leans in and goes, "What's going on?"
I don't. Honestly.
She doesn't seem reassured.
I mean, she
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah.
I no, he would try and be somewhat comforting. So I think I'll sort of reasonably speak to the guy if he's paying attention, which he may not be. Sorry, who? I should ask, who are you? We haven't introduced ourselves yet.
He looks at you and he smiles and he goes, "No need to apologise." And then kind of looks back at the door and then looks back at you as if just checking that nobody else was still coming in. And he like kind of clasps his hands again as he stops him ringing. It's almost like he's gripping them to stop that motion of him wringing his hands. And he says, "It was fortuitous that you arrived when you did." He smiles and nods at everybody in the group. I am a Lardin, and you are welcome. And he waves vaguely to all of you, and quickly clasps his hands together again.
I'm sorry about the circumstances under which we're meeting. Vanger looks a little bit guilty saying that. Not Aladdin. Got it.
No, a Lardin, yes. A Lardin, yes. Not Aladdin. And I think as you look a bit guilty, like the old man just kind of is obviously eyes shut, kind of just smiling and nodding. Anybody else got any reactions or?
I think when he says, sorry for the circumstances, there's a bit of a hiss and heckles raised from people.
Very different personalities at work.
As Fleabite like wipes a bloodied paw on like a silk.
2 seconds. Here. So yeah, the two acolytes run back in the room carrying quite a fancy looking kind of wooden tray thing. They bring in, seems to be like really fancy ornate wooden carving. with a big cushion at the bottom of it, and they run in and sit it just kind of in front of the three of you that are sitting at the side of the big brazier. Imagine Fleabite's still, wringing out his clothes from being drenched, and it's got a bunch of different potion bottles, on it, and as soon as it's sat down, and they're staring at you guys, right? Like they're clearly through their masks, they're clearly staring at you all, and then very quickly you hear clicking again as they quickly run away. He goes, "Forgive their curiosity. It is not often we get such colourful outsiders."
Understandable. I'd want to see what was going on myself if I were them.
And the old man smiles. He motions to the little bottles on the cushion on the tray, and he says, "Please, rest, enjoy." And he kind of he specifically addresses that to also specifically Fleabite, to make sure Fleabite was aware, because the hissing didn't go unnoticed from yourself. And he says, "They are quite safe."
Are they healing salves by any chance?
You have a good eye.
Oh,
He
that
says-
would, sorry, hold on.
No, he's just saying that with his eyes shut, obviously, because he's got that old man always has his eyes closed, but seems to address you all the time. Kind of look to him.
Okay.
I think Fleabite might want to take one of them and very obviously check it. It's like its contents.
Sure. How do you wish to do this?
Obviously not using poisoners.
You say obvious.
But probably using the sort of skills that you would check using poisoners proficiency things.
Yeah, I think if you wanted to try and gauge what this is, though, I think what is the outlook here? You want to know if it's not poison, or do you want to know if it is a healing potion? What's the one you're
No,
looking
that
for?
is poison. Yeah.
Do you want to know if it's not poison?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Do you want to just roll your poisoner's kit proficiency skill with intelligence, I guess, or wisdom? I'll let you pick. I don't really mind which one. Wisdom probably makes the most sense, if I'm honest, though. I'll have that. How do you feel about these potions? How does Fleabite feel? Are they clearly poisoned, or are they okay?
Definitely liquid.
Wet.
I'm gonna suggest that, given Fleabite's own proclivities, he might be inclined to suspect others would do something like that.
See,
So-
that makes sense, but then Fleabite did get the poison took out of him by this man, which is the only thing that might
Yeah.
give him pause for that suspicion.
And I suppose the mere fact that you even thought to check kind of demonstrates that you have that frame of mind.
Yeah, it's up to you, Alexander. Though you are the Skaven.
Yeah, I think might he'll just take the potion and just mull it over, not say anything. But it was fairly obvious that Fleabite gave it a check.
Yeah, I think
But he's not going to say anything outright to the rest of the party.
and Alardin says to everybody, kind of nods and goes, "I would understand your suspicions, you see, but well, you are safe here."
Sort of stretch my legs and get up and go over and take a big swig of one.
Yeah, and there is clearly one set out for each of you, right? So yeah,
Is the one for
say that. Sorry.
is the one for him?
No.
Because is he looking a little bit worse for wear?
Not at all, no. Like, you could roll perception if you want to get a better answer.
No, I'm just rolling Alexander memory for.
You did attack him, yeah. You
Yeah.
did damage him, yeah. But you could roll perception now and it can give you an answer, maybe. Depending on how well your rolling luck is tonight based on that start. So hit us up with that and see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a lot from this.
It could go well. Look at that, we're bam.
Rolling.
So yeah, like you can see, right, like where your dagger would have hit him, right? Like, because it's probably tore the clothes, right? Like there is no wound, which is unusual because when Fleabite stabs people, usually they're wounded.
And there was fire.
right?
There's no burn.
No, but the clothes are probably a bit singed, right? So yeah, definitely not. So yeah, you've got that to work with, right? The Vanguard though, you drank yours, so I need you to roll a 8d4 plus 8.
8d4 plus 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's space for plus, right?
You don't need to.
Then I would.
It's probably better if you don't, I think. But I don't think it matters. There you go. Regain 29 hit points and then watch the metagaming pour in.
That is my pause button. My mute button.
Okay.
So I'll be on what, 55? 55.
Remember you can...
Vanguard is very quickly looking dramatically better.
I would say that's probably an obvious visual, right?
Mm.
You don't see the health bar go up, but you definitely see Vanguard looking a lot healthier. Because it was pretty beat up as a dwarf man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 26. So
Yeah.
pretty beat up.
So, yeah. The old man just kind of nods and smiles at the fact that you've taken a drink, and he sees like Fleabite sniffing and whatever else he's doing at his.
Thank you. That was exactly what was required.
Kind of nods, just smiles. He goes, "Please, the others, yes." Sarah just looks at hers and goes, I think I'll have mine later," and just like pockets it. She didn't take any damage.
I think
so.
I do actually chuckle in character a little at that. 'Cause I do appreciate the wisdom of taking it. It's a little cheeky, but it is wise.
She's been dragged into already based on you guys stealing her from her wedding to be based on the fact that her husband might be killing her. Yeah, it's a big day. Eltris, you've seen your dwarven colleague look a lot better after drinking it. So
yeah, definitely. I was going to take a swig as well. I was just looking. Obviously, I've got a -2 intelligence. So obviously, I think I just saw Fleabite inspecting it and thought, yeah, that seems okay, and I'll just drink it anyway.
okay, yeah. Do you want to roll the same? 8d4 plus 8. This is when this is just a long con just to get Alexander to drink it, and it's a poisoned one. There you go, you get 27 back. And Alexander. What's Fleabite up to?
Yeah, I think Fleabite might just pocket it as well.
Yeah, happy to just pocket it. Well, you can add a, what's it actually specifically called? A superior healing potion to your inventory. Just dump the
Gain 1 healing potion.
Mhm.
To gain 1 healing potion, turn to page 64.
Yes. So yeah, and I think the old man just kind of like cocks his head at the side and kind of just like in an accepting motion. And, oh well, it's like Fleabite and Sarah just pocket theirs. He says, "Food. Do you wish something to nibble?" He like makes a eating motion with his hand.
It would be most kind. I wouldn't mind a small bite to eat. You're being very generous.
Kind of like dismissively waves his hand to be like, no. The unpleasantries earlier. Allow me to take the blame. Kind of just nods. And just smiles at Elocris.
I smile back.
I am uncomfortable with all of this, frankly.
Very stereotypically RP, isn't it? What do you mean there's a box in the middle of the room doing nothing but being a box? I don't trust it. I love that.
Chekhov's box, yeah.
Mhm.
It's a classic.
That's Chekhov's mimic. That's the classic. So yeah, says, do you have any particular dietary requirements? You're a dwarf, right?
Yes, correct.
We're not so versed in dwarven culture here.
There's there are differences in menu, but we eat much as men do. It's I'm sure anything that's suitable for yourselves should be more than sufficient for me.
He kind of smiles and nods, and then I started like clicking his fingers back at that doorway where those other two had came from. And says, "And the others?" I think Sarah just says like, "Some bread, maybe something to drink." Just kind of just hanging on to you though. I am Vanger. She's kind of just saying it. Well, if you're gonna eat, I could eat.
Yeah.
But she's obviously keeping it simple, right? She's like, bread, sure. That how can you fuck up bread? So yeah, Eltris, Fleabite, any food requests?
I wouldn't mind a small something too, also, please.
Clasps his hands at that, like, yes, good. And he nods and he moves his gaze over to Fleabite. And like,
I think Fleabite will say, "Yes, eat. We'll have what you having."
and he smiles. Yes, after all the excitement, I don't think I could quite stomach anything to eat. But I'm happy to provide what I have for yourself, Mr. Master. And he waves vaguely as if trying to get you to tell him your name.
Just like blink.
And he kind of looks awkward and like looks at the rest of you when Fleabite does this as if
We'll take what you recommend.
he kind of nods. He goes, yes. Soup, perhaps. There will be something in a pot. And he nods.
When
Okay.
Sarah and Eltris took their potions, did they leave the bottles back on like? Where they
I
were?
would have left the bowl, absolutely.
No, they just eat the bottle as well afterwards.
Crunch through the bottle. I like the texture it adds.
It's actually made of glass candy. So, you know. Yep. Now, do you want the bottles? Is that what you want? I'm going to assume that was a yes.
Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You can, like, scurry over and just lift them off the tray if you want.
Like during that conversation, keep eye contact.
I think, okay. Are you a collector of glassware?
Collector of many things, yes. This very good glass, yes.
Okay, no.
I think as he says collector of many things, I just give like an expression that that shows my agreement to that statement.
It's like, yeah, that's definitely a way of saying it. Yep. He goes, good. forgive me a moment's absence. And he like shuffles around the other side of the brazier and leaves through that door where he was clicking it. So he's around the room alone, essentially.
How big are some of those cushions?
Yeah, like you could just like curl up entirely on them. Yeah. I know what you were saying.
How many cushions in a bag of holding?
If there's a small one that probably wouldn't instantly go, like, it'd be weird that it was missing from the room.
Tell you what, why don't you roll me an investigate check to see if you can work out which one won't be missed? Or maybe it's an insight check. I'm not even sure what that would be now. That's a difficult one to gauge. Could be anything. But you hit me up with a check that seems appropriate. There we go. Yeah, I think you can spot something you think won't be missed. It's probably, I love the idea it's the one Vanger's sitting on or something stupid like that. Aye. So, yeah, it's just like a big cushion you can sit on, you know. You want to just put it in your bag of holding? Is that where we're at?
I think for now, I would actually quite like to just curl up on it, like kind of limp onto it, or maybe drag it over to the fire and then then collapse onto it.
I found a random color website which I really like. So,
Yeah.
what's the first color you get when you click on that, Alexander?
My ability to describe colors is not.
Why don't you clip it?
incredible.
Send us a clip of it.
Say some sort of fuchsia. You can judge.
Yeah, sounds like a fuchsia purple. Yeah. What a weird website.
It's interesting.
I like it though. But anyway, so yeah, that's the one you've got, and yeah, do you want to say anything else to each other? You basically have a moment of privacy to discuss anything amongst yourselves.
Well, this is expected turn.
Sarah just like leans in and goes, I actually just ordered because you ordered, to be honest. I didn't realise. Should we be eating this? She's like almost like clearly now she's going, that's actually kind of dumb to just take food from a stranger now that she's thought about it.
If they wanted to kill us, they'd probably just, I don't know, throw knives at us. He says that in a sort of offhand way, is it?
Yeah, I think she's just like, oh dear. Like, there's definitely a look of like dread that like goes over everything. I don't know if we should even be here now. Then
But
like,
he said something about now. Eltris, I know I haven't known you terribly long, but can I ask you about this Chosen One business?
Yeah, so at this point you know as much as myself, but I do think if you wanted us dead, we would be dead by now.
I think
Yes,
Sarah looks at you right when like he's asking that, and you reply that, and she kind of just like puts like a almost like a reassuring arm, just like maybe like or hand, sorry, on like maybe like your bicep or something, just briefly as if to like acknowledge that you've said something, and she'll say to you, "I was kind of a chosen one up until recently." As smiles awkwardly at you, Chris.
How did that turn out?
Oh, here I am. She looks around.
And
What
my
is it?
face drops.
Yeah, and she goes, what are you chosen for? She kind of like awkwardly smiles as if trying to make the conversation more pleasant.
Thus far I am unsure. No idea.
Oh, and then she like as she's saying "oh," she just turns and looks at Vanger like, "Oh dear."
it'll be interesting. Look, for whatever reason, they've decided not to continue fighting with us, and I'm glad of that. I don't really know anything about them and didn't particularly want to fight them in the first place. I don't know about everyone else.
She doesn't look.
If I'm
Really
going to get killed by a giant blood monster, I'd prefer to know why.
I don't know if I have such preferences. she says awkwardly. I feel like just not being killed by it would be my preference if I had the choice, but I think I don't know if I'd like to know how I leave this world. Oh. Thank you very much for the host.
His homestead.
It's a Grim Scotsman.
Ah.
Thank you very much. But yeah, so she's trying to make herself more comfortable by obviously just talking nonsense, right? Like she is
Yeah.
trying to like just fill the air, but also most of what she's saying is just highlighting how awful the situation she's found herself is in. And then, yeah. Sorry, Vanger, you had more to say to Electris that should cut you off with.
No, I think I was just sort of shooting the shit, as it were, and kind of. Also, yeah, I wanted to ask him about that in case he knew what they were about. Well, where we find ourselves here, we might as well make ourselves comfortable and take advantage of the hospitality and find out exactly what it is these folks. They wouldn't by any chance. I see this looking around to Sarah. They wouldn't by any chance be watchers, would they? This is where we were coming to find them.
Do you see any red mirrors anywhere? She said, looking around the room. There isn't. Like, it's just like silks coming down from like clearly parts where it's
I
been.
don't
like,
know that I've
painted
ever
off.
seen a red mirror anywhere. To be honest with
Me
you,
neither.
they're usually not coloured.
The frames can be quite nice though, depending on who's making it. I was gonna say manufacturer, but I don't know if that's a word you should use. But yeah, she goes, quite expensive though, so you don't see many of them outside nobility often.
Oh yes, it's extravagant.
She
Oh,
nods.
watch? Yes, I think I heard that. Watchers of the Crimson Mirror.
Crimson Mirror. She like, yep. She nods just matter of factly, kind of still looking around the room as if to try and spot something.
Quite a name, that.
Yes, it's very evocative, isn't it?
And I really am wanting to avoid meeting here, but could he figure that out? Should I roll something?
What are you trying to figure out? You tell me.
So how much? Right. Remind me, how much did you guys say about the ritual you observed earlier? And when I say earlier, I mean 700 sessions ago. I mean
It was
a couple of sessions back.
It was Fleabite, so probably nothing.
Yeah, I don't think we really did.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wouldn't have the benefit of knowing that they were all chanting around the blood.
Yeah. I mean, Eltris was there, and I mean, so was Fleabite, and they have heard this conversation, so they could lead in with that if they chose to, but that's really up to them.
Keep you at or on, and
so,
well,
Eltris or Fleabite, anything to add to this current conversation where it's at right now?
Where it's at right now.
Where it's at right now, which is them talking about. Do you
No,
see
sorry,
any red
not
mirrors?
where it's at right now.
Right. Okay. Cool.
they
I
cut
gotcha
off
now.
slightly at the start
Yeah,
there.
I missed that bit, but we're good now. We got you now. So yeah, I think Sarah's just mostly like looking around the room as if trying to look behind the like look through the silks and stuff to see if she can like see her like straining her eyes and stuff to around the room to like leaning around you guys to get a view, because obviously one's a dwarf and the other one's a fairly large elf, so like leans around you guys to get a look at the rest of the room. But yeah, other than that, she's not going to be saying anything out loud unless spoke directly to, I guess. So, anything else dialogue-wise you want to say while you have the privacy?
I think Fleabite might sort of say to Sarah, "You arm finger sense, you're rude." Mate? No. Not sure if I had a word for sibling.
Yeah, she looks at it and she goes, "Oh, the bangle," and she like gestures to the thing on her wrist. "You mean this?" And she points at it, holds it up to you.
just like look at your
Nice.
experience.
And I think she just leans over to Vanger and says, I don't always know what it means.
I-
I repeat what I said, but telepathically to her.
I think she jumps a little bit at that, right? Because she wasn't expecting the telepathic communication. She goes, do you mean my brother? Do you mean Cantor? She says this out loud, not telepathically.
I think replying out loud. Yes, Cantor Man-Thing.
She nods and goes, I'd like to appreciate that. No, it's... I don't think he's down here. She like... almost like half turns to him and goes, I do think he was in that big house. Almost as if she's realising it's not like a particularly strong feeling she's getting from the bangle where she is.
yeah.
She kind of like nods and then just kind of like smiles awkwardly at Fleabite, I guess, as if there's your answer. And then, yeah, I think on that note as well. Then in walks two of the acolytes again with more trees, and again all fancy ornate carved wood, and they get sat down in front of you guys. And then they
Thank you.
very quickly leave. And it's not anything super fancy or anything, but there's like bowls of soup, there's loaves of bread, and something that could be called cheese.
Yeah, Vanger will wait a second, and if the guy doesn't come back within like the second, he'll just start.
Yeah, I think he does shuffle it back in eventually, but it's maybe a couple of minutes later. I think Sarah just waits till you've eaten a bit, and she goes, "Is it good?"
Sure. It's quite possible. I mean, I'm assuming it is. And
Yeah, it's literally
not the
just
GM, and you could say it tastes like ass.
no, it's as described. It's what you imagine bread to taste like, cheese to taste like, and soup of a nondescriptive variety.
Decent bit of bread. Cheese is perfectly nice. Soup. Not sure what that is.
Nothing looks blood red if you're asking that as well.
No, I'm not. He's not suspicious of him really anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a hearty meal. Nothing amiss with it.
And I think.
Although I am dwarven, so I am somewhat more resistant to many poisons. He says after a second.
She laughs at that, like almost like you can tell it's a fake laugh, right? It's a very polite laugh that she doesn't necessarily. You don't know if she's even took that information. You can tell that was a polite society laugh. And then she says, "I am very used to my brother attempting to cook, so I don't think this should be too challenging." And she does her polite laugh again, and then she picks up a piece of the bread, tears it off, and then gets like some of the cheese, and then attempts to combine the two without any actual implements. And then, yeah, she starts to like go, it's not bad, as she's like mumbling away with the food. It's definitely edible, at least. And then she like slides one of the trays like closer with like two of the plates of soup on it. She slides that like closer to like you guys, Eltress and Fleabite, just in your direction.
Can Fleabite just pick up a bowl of soup and just like down it in one?
Yeah.
Like it takes like time. It's just
Yeah.
You know,
Yep, just pours it down your throat. Yep, perfect. Yep. You can indeed do that. Yeah, it's warm and soup-like. There you go. Eltress?
Yeah. I'll just do the same.
Just copy Fleabite, yeah, just down the bowl.
Yeah, probably. I think as a hefty big boy elf, I'd probably do the same, yeah.
Yep, the hefty big boy elf does the exact same as the 3-foot rat man.
Yeah,
and I think like as you are like tucking in, that's when the old man goes, hopefully it's sustaining. And he like rubs his hands together as he shuffles back to like the top end of the brazier where he was like perched on a cushion.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was very, very, very filling, very kind. Thank you. I realise I still haven't introduced myself. I'm being terribly rude. I'm Vanger.
And he smiles. That's it though. Just smiles. He is staring at you though.
And I sort of look round to the others. And did Fleabite give his name?
No.
Oh, okay, that makes.
I'm not sure. Did Fleabite even give his name to Eltris yet?
I feel like he's just picked up based on people talking at Fleabite.
I don't know, because I think I've still just been calling him the Rat Man, like, the last
Yeah.
few sessions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which I do apologise about.
This interesting individual is Fleabite.
The bowl that the soup was in to the bag of holding.
Sarah here. Would you like to introduce yourself, Sarah?
Yes, hello. Thank you for the food. And she kind of leans back behind you.
And Eltris, who I'm afraid I'm fairly new to myself. Eltris.
He stands up
Yeah.
and he clasps his hands together, waiting on the introduction.
Oh no. Yes, I'll just say, yeah, I am Eltris, and thank you for the hospitality that you've shown me and my friends.
Kind of waves his hand again as if dismissively. No, think nothing of it. How else would we be treating the chosen one? He who has prophesied, you see. And nods
you-
and smiles.
Would you care to explain this to us? This chosen one?
Why else would you be here?
Touché.
Remember, at any point, Tom, you can call a player agency pause, and you can have a wee chat with your colleagues.
No, the
Um,
touché was in character.
Oh, I figured
no.
it might have been. Touché!
Pouch.
Ouch. Touchy. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think how we actually ended up in this sewer in the first
You've
place.
RP'd with me before,
Um,
Tom. You know it's not easy to talk to my NPCs. Not if I don't want it to be.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I do get that. But maybe it was just luck or coincidence that we were here.
He kind of like blows raspberries at that. And he's like, no such thing as luck or coincidence.
Vanger nods his head.
Yeah. Immediately this guy gets a gold star on Vanger's rating system. And because you are here because where else would you be if you were meant to be here? This is the way it's meant to be. You were foreseen. And he just nods and like, as if, of course, right? Everything. He's looking at you guys as almost for like affirmation to that. Like, of course, that's obviously why you are with him.
Obviously.
Yeah. He just smiles back at you, Eltris. Yep, Vanger.
What were you? What is Eltris chosen for?
And the Alardin says, well, it is the function of the Watchers. And he says it like matter of fact, like, well, of course. And he has a bit of a look on his face when you say that, like a wee bit of suspicion creeps over his face when you say, like you're questioning that. And he says, to Eltris, he says, do you not know your divine purpose?
I don't believe it's came up before, no.
You are to
Out
be,
of character. That was fine.
you are to be the vessel.
The vessel for what exactly?
How would you not know? Surely you're meant to know by the time you arrive, unless. And he's like muttering to himself, like tapping his like finger off his lips and stuff. And he's like, maybe it's within my duties to bring you up to speed, as it were, and Yes. You're like almost like psyching himself up to like, how come you don't know? And he says, "You are to host the Blood Prince."
Oh,
I'm not so familiar with the Watchers. I'm not aware of there being any in our cities. Who's the Blood Prince?
And it's almost like the old guy like acknowledges that you've said that. You can feel Sarah gripping tighter on your arm as soon as that was mentioned as well. Like, even just at the word vessel.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And yeah, he like acknowledges that you spoke, but he's kind of still looking at like Eltris for like reactions, and as if he's hoping at like any signs of enlightenment might hit him. You know, like surely you must know what this is about. He says,
out of character, I feel really bad that I don't know.
"It's okay."
Over this old man.
Okay. Okay. You just feel bad that you don't know this guy's like, you know. Work.
Yeah.
I thought you just meant out of character. I feel bad I don't know. I'm like, I don't think anybody else in the party knows, so I wouldn't worry about
No, I feel like I feel quite bad for the guy. I wish I did know.
it. It seems you are so ill-educated. What made you find your way here, if not divine providence? Like, when he looks at everything, then this is when he addresses you, Anger. He says, "What made you find your way to our sanctum here?"
Oh, it's been a chain of many strange events. I like to think divided. Divided.
I love that the
Divided?
Vanguard just
Guided.
turns to Rudy.
Yeah,
Divided.
guided by guided by
Guided by
yeah.
the light.
I'm not quite sure how we'd put this euphemistically.
What are you
because Vanguard
trying to
tends
say?
be-
Like,
He wants basically to say guided by, the Great Father, who is, master of all gods. He's a polite guy, so he's not going to come into somebody's sanctums, just fed them, and say, guided by the proper god who you should be worshipping. He's not going to say something like that. But he obviously is like, this Blood Prince is weird bullshit. I don't know what this is about.
you guys sound like the Great Father seems to agree insofar as us being here, right?
Oh, okay. Well, hold on.
Yeah.
I'll just guided by the hand, I believe, of the Great Father, who I have served for many years.
There's something between a cough and a snort from Fleabite.
Okay. Yep.
Also, the rat guided us here in the most literal sense.
He nods. And he looks over at Fleabite, and you've introduced Fleabite now, right? Or have you?
I did.
Yeah. He says, "Are you not fatigued from the misunderstanding and the test earlier?" Fleabite.
Some, hind leg scratching of the ear. And then turn attention to the dude
So thank you very much, Diamond Knight 72.
and
Hello,
say,
and welcome.
fatigue can be felt and handled in different ways, yes.
There he goes. Yes.
Are you not fatigued by the misunderstanding, yes?
He smiles. He says, "It would take many misunderstandings to fatigue me." And he kind of like, he bows like reverently at that. Like he kind of like bows very deeply at that. And what does Fleabite say, sorry?
I was tempted to say, how long have you got? But I think I'll just... That's a bit too eloquent for Fleabite. Just probably wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, he just kind of like bows and like almost like respect to the exchange you clearly had earlier. But you're definitely not getting any vibes of this guy's looking to like have like a a replay of the earlier fight or anything. He's clearly just comfortable going, this was a test, these have passed and you've come. He doesn't seem to be showing any like guilt about the people that clearly did die in the previous
He
rooms.
doesn't seem to be showing much regard for those people generally.
Yeah. The ones still running around after him, yeah.
Oh, this because he's got masks and therefore he doesn't need to know who they are.
Yeah, it makes casting a lot easier and cheaper.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, he nods at that, and then he says, if you aren't aware of the prophecy, the duty of a watcher is to await the return of the Blood Prince. He just looks every day as if, is this lighting up any light bulbs in your heads? No? Okay. Any reactions? What we're looking at in everybody's face as he says this? I assume Fleabite's just staring blankly.
Fleabite just collapses in, like, comfortably collapses
Mhm.
exhaustingly, just
Mhm.
like into curled up. You know, it would appear that he's asleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just gonna like rest, essentially, cozied up. But yeah, like what's Vanger's reaction on that?
He probably looks interested and mildly concerned.
I think it's mostly
Sort of.
concern on Sarah's face. Yeah. And she is still eating the bread with the cheese, though. I think she's maybe focusing on something she can handle, which is eating the bread and cheese. She hasn't touched the soup though, but she's definitely just filling her mouth full of bread, almost absent-mindedly. Eltris, any reactions to this that is obvious on your face?
I would say like intrigue, yet also concern, because in my head I'm not 100% sure these guys aren't going to sacrifice me as part of this prophecy.
Oh,
Mm.
I'm 100% sure they are out of character.
Yeah.
What would make you think such a thing? You know, creepy blood cult under the city, right? Why is being a
I'm in
chosen avenger
danger.
for a good thing? I am in danger. Yeah. So, yeah, you've got that. That happens, that exchange. And he says, perhaps it's best I show you when you're feeling a little better. Yes? He starts rubbing his hands again. I guess wringing his hands is a better phrase than rubbing his hands, right?
Very Monty Burns. Well,
Hmm.
perhaps not a bad idea. And just sort of looking a little lost around Eltris at the moment because you have a connection to this. And I think Vanger puts a lot of stock in people sort of just having a kind of destiny. Vanger's kind of like that, and he also, I mean, that's why like the term divine providence is a phrase he himself used earlier in the game, and it's like he definitely thinks like if there is a purpose for a person, they'll sort of naturally follow it to a degree. So he will look to you in this just because even though he knows you don't know, he also will sort of feel like, well, intuitively you must know what to do.
Okay. Well, Alardin, what happens next?
I think like you see like him scrunch up his eyes and like almost like he's hearing something uncomfortable when you say that. And then he says, yes, it is you will be prepared in a way that will fashion you as the vessel for the Blood Prince. Smiles and nods.
Okay.
Yeah, anything else you wanna exchange for the guy?
I'm getting prepared for my death, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I just didn't like the combo of elf and barbarian together with the beard. It just didn't sit well for me, Tom. So I just thought, well, just get him sacrifice in the game. We'll just get rid of you. It's fine.
It was nice
Yeah.
playing with you guys, though. It was
Yeah.
quite nice.
And Alardin, I think goes, Perhaps I should show you now. Then, come, chosen one. He like motions for you to like stand up.
Okay. Should I come alone or can my friends come too?
Let them eat if they wish. And he kind of shrugs vaguely, like clearly doesn't really mind their way.
I suppose I'll kind of look at them as well, just for some little bit of backup, even though we've only known each other about maybe half an hour by this point.
I think Sarah just waves to you from where she's sat, huddled into Vanger.
If he looks like he requires some support, I think Vanger would sort of beautifully follow after him.
Yeah, how do you look, Eltrus? Do you look worried?
Well, this creepy man who was touching me in the last room is wanting to spend a bit privately with him now, so yes.
Oh dear. Yeah, I suppose. When you phrase it like that. Yes. Okay. So, Vanger, if you get up, Sarah then just obviously gets up because she's like, I don't want to be left alone. Fleabit's wrapped up in a cushion. Cozied out. So, yeah. Fleabit, are you following or are you staying put?
I'll get up, and as they're following on, I'll pick up the cushion. And take it with me.
Just in the bag of holding or just holding onto it like a comfort thing?
I think for now I'm just gonna hold it.
Yeah. And yeah, the Lardin like excitedly, almost arm in arm with you, Eltrus, like leads you through one of the doorways down a big long corridor. There's some very long corridors that you just pass through. Like, process takes maybe about 25 minutes, to be honest, to complete the journey. And you find yourself in a massive, like, chasmous room that, like, steps down all the way into it. And it seems very familiar. You've been in this room before, Eltrus. So is Fleabag. And in the middle, there is this kind of, like, big pool of red liquid. And just like pats you on the arm and then like kind of like tugs at you to like start going down the steps with
Okay, I suppose I'll just follow for now.
And I think like as he takes a couple of steps and he turns to the rest and goes, "It would maybe be best if you all stayed on this level. I am unsure how the mirror will act to those unwelcome." He nods, like, cautiously.
Keep my distance.
Yeah.
As they start to go away, can Fleabite redo psychic whispers?
Okay, yeah.
Um,
So we're off, yeah. I don't see why you couldn't redo it, yeah.
Well, it still would. I think it had quite a lot of hours to go, but would redo it this time to include Eltrus.
Yeah. That's fine.
So that's just I rolled a 6.
Okay. This is for how many hours it lasts, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. I like that you're writing yourself the instructions for it. So /R or /roll, whichever you prefer. Space 1d6. There we go. 1 hour. So you've got a good hour of mind chatting. Are you saying anything after you've done it, or?
Just I'll just psychically say to Eltrus, just don't worry. I'm inside head if needs talk squeak.
How does that get received, Eltrus? And all of a sudden, Fleabite's in your head.
Well, I mean, this is the first time it's happened, and I'm like very shocked, but I don't want to give anything away to all.
Alardin.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll kind of maybe as if I was going to look back at him and be like, "Wait, what?" But realize it's telepathically and just kind of think to myself and be like, "Okay, okay, I've got you."
The image I had in my head was you like getting startled on the steps and acting like, oh yeah, I tripped. You know, trying to play it off like it's fine. It was a trip. Clearly not.
That's on me. Sorry.
Yeah. So you're replying, okay, back to Fleabite. Is that right?
Yeah, just to be okay. Just
Mhm.
I got you, buddy.
And like as you're like mildly startled, he goes, "Don't worry, not many to go now." As he's like, for some reason, feeling the need to reassure you of how many steps you can clearly see. But this is like the equivalent of like, see, like a big football stadium. That's the size of this room. And yous are like on the top tier of it, and taking Eltress away down to the middle. So yeah, you get to the bottom. Like a very kind of cool stone floor that you're stepping on. And here's you, and he gets in front of like the big kind of circular red pool, and says, "This is the mirror." And he looks at you like majestically, as if all your questions have been answered.
And what does the mirror do exactly?
And he looks at
I'm
you and goes,
going to offend him.
yeah, and he looks at you and goes, "By what do you mean?"
I just suppose why have you brought me to look at the mirror?
You had questions, yes?
I suppose, maybe.
I think not your questions are for me though, but more for the mirror. He waves to the mirror majestically. The whole time he's looking at you like you should know what you're doing, right? That is definitely what he's like. It's almost like he's forgetting that you have told him many times now you don't know anything about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose I'll kind of just walk up to the mirror then, I suppose. See
Yeah.
what happens.
Well, you're kind of at the edge of it anyway, right? You are at the edge of the
Yeah.
water. And it's the equivalent of being a bit like if you went to a random loch or a lake, right? It's the same type of idea of it's just this big circle of water in the middle of this, like as I said, stadium-sized room. And yeah, like maybe you're just noticing that there are people at the edges of it, at the far side, just all in like robes and masks as well. That you've just noticed. And do you do anything or just stand there?
I think I'll, like, if I could, like, try and speak to Fleabite telepathically, and I'll just be like, he wants me to ask the mirror a question. Is there anything we want to ask the mirror?
And I think instead of Fleabite hearing that, because obviously
Okay.
that's dramatic, you hear a reply that is not Fleabite, nor Vanger, nor Sarah. And the reply says, "Then ask me." And then that's where we go to break.
Oh,
No, please don't.
So
Is
do
we'll
you
be,
think I can't see a cliffhanger or cliffhangeries?
yeah,
or
it's like, what's that?
cliffhanger?
We're at the 9 o'clock mark. You say it's almost cliffhanger time. You say.
Does the audience recognise the voice,
No.
the accent?
So
It's a dare. That's his actual accent.
he was putting his accent on the whole time. Well, anyway, folks watching, we'll be back in 10 minutes. Bye.
Do 12 tomorrow, lads.
Rightio, so welcome back to the Invasion session 49, part 2. I am Ryan, the GM. It is the 5th of May 2021, and here are the players.
Hello, I am Tom, otherwise known as Eltris, otherwise known as Stormboy, the Elven Barbarian, and the 5th of May is finally a significant date for me.
Okay.
Good evening, my name is Alexander, and tonight I'll be playing Fleabite the Skaven. Still pretty terrible at everything.
Hello. I still haven't figured out what the song lyric I want to use was. So I am Colin. I will be playing Vanger, who is a dwarven paladin. Kayak druid.
I was gonna say paladin? What? Where'd that come from?
Don't know where the word paladin came into my head.
You think of Balana? Is that what you're thinking of there?
No, I don't think I am anyway.
How we blast from the past. Aye. Okay, I actually lost track. Is your intro done? Yeah, we good? Yeah.
Yeah!
Aye, okay. Good. Right, okay. To jump back in. So, Eltris, you hear that voice in your head. It is not Fleabite. It is not a voice you have heard before.
Okay, so I suppose I'll start off with how are you? No, I'm joking. I suppose I'll just kind of telepathically still say, who is this?
And then there is like a distinctive silence, right? That passes. And maybe you look to the old man, Larden, and he just most like is physically encouraging you with his arms gesturing and like motioning towards the big circular red pool of water. And he doesn't say anything though. He's kind of leaving you to your business, as it were. And then you hear the voice again, and it says, "Let us not waste both of our time. You know who I am."
I feel like IRL, like I'm about to start crying here.
Simba! No.
I suppose I'll just kind of say, like, I suppose I'll just speak out loud to the mirror then. There's no point in doing this telepathically. And I'll just kind of say, what do you expect from me?
To speak to the mirror! Alardin, like, butts in, motioning a wee bit closer to you.
Can I look at Alardin and say that was directed to the mirror?
He goes, generally we keep our thoughts to ourselves
Okay.
and the mirror. And he gestures between the two. It is a connection not so shared. He nods majestically and politely again, very reverently. So I think you guys up on like the top of the Knot Stadium are just seeing Alardin wave his arms around a bit and nodding a lot and encouraging physically with his arms, like motioning towards the big pool. Now you just see Eltris staring awkwardly, I guess, into the pool.
You just sit on the cushion.
Yeah.
Let's start.
I definitely have a furrowed brow. Watch with a degree of concern, but don't want to prejudge just because it's called the fucking Blood Prince.
I think Sarah's like munching a piece of bread and she just like sits down on like the top step or whatever it is, just kind of next to Fleabite on his cushion. Just, I guess, just pats the seat, like the step next to her for you, Vanger, since she doesn't really know what else to do in this situation.
Oh yeah. And he sort of sits down as if thinking, "Oh, I've been impolite."
Yeah. And like she tears a bit of her bread off and offers it to you and kind of like shrugs. And she's just like, "Whoa,
Oh,
this is interesting."
thank you, very kind.
And she tears another bit off and hands it over to you, Fleabite.
So there's a large sniffing sound. Fleabite.
Okay, is it a snatch or do you just take it?
It's a yoink, not necessarily a nudge, but it's
Okay.
not a quick. It's
Okay.
not, it's not slow.
Is this the Kinsey scale of what type of
Is it a Kinsey 1?
I had to teach him what the Kinsey scale was.
Oh.
Yeah, that was adorable.
You know what? Not
That's
not
fair.
everyone. needs
No,
to
it's
do-
100% not a thing that everybody will be aware of. Agreed.
Very few people find in their daily lives that they're really having to cite it.
I generally don't, to be honest.
You're sincerely 2.5, probably would be a fair estimate. Anyway,
Me or him? Like, you aiming that?
oh
at me?
no, 2.5 I think is I what I would describe myself. I think 2.5.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I'll have to check.
Okay. I forget
2
exactly.
seems like a bit of an understatement, but 3 seems like an overstatement. You know.
I think you're a 3 based on what I know of the scale, but maybe you are more of a 2.5. Yeah, anyway, we're getting off topic. So,
This is the content people crave, right?
I don't know if that's true.
Probably not. But I like saying things.
Yeah, and now people have googled the Kinsey scale, and that's fun. So you have you in the pool, Eltris, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a plan. You get really eager, overbearing Alardin next to you, just like motioning constantly.
In the pool.
Yeah, I suppose I'm not going to get in the pool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Telepathically, then obviously, since this is a connection, I'll say to the voice and just kind of say basically the same thing that I said out loud, but just kind of be like, "What do you expect is me as the vessel?"
There's a bit of like a rumble, insofar as it's clearly like some kind of telepathic rumble that you can feel the thing replying to you. As if this isn't an always-on connection, as you're now aware. You hear the hum of the TV as it powers up its cathode ray tube, and I know descriptions. You know me, Colin. And the voice says, "You are how I will be reborn in this world."
Okay.
May I offer a slight suggestion? A
Please.
slight suggestion is a really stupid way to phrase that. Sorry. If you're going to ask it a very specific question, probably the spooky voice in the pool isn't going to be great at intuiting things. This is just a guess on my part. I don't know that. I think you have to just come out and ask, because I'm getting the impression that you want to say, "Are you going to fucking consume my soul and walk around staring out of my eyes?" Maybe not quite those words, but that's something to the effect of what I'm getting you're trying to ask, but it's just being literal back to you.
Or something involving sock puppets.
Yeah, something like that. Am I right? Am I?
Yeah, like think out loud to us, Tom. Right? What's your plan?
Not to die.
Fair.
Always a good plan.
Yeah.
I can't help you then.
I guess kind of a
Trade
plan.
them in.
That was the part of the problem of why he's more likely to die, because Fleabag's already washed his hands of him. So yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I'm still very confused with the whole situation. But I suppose, yeah, the ultimate goal is just to find out if
You hear, as you're like thinking this over and unsure what to say, the voice steps in and says, "I understand this must be overwhelming for you. It is a great honor to be the vessel."
So I think I'll just reply saying, what does it mean exactly to be the vessel? Like, will you have to take control of my body?
We will become one.
And would I still have control
I as I am now, and you as you are now, will cease to be, and we will step forward.
Totally out of character. I think I might want to do this.
I mean, ask him. What do we get? Is this one of those deals that comes with limitless power? Because
Are you a warlock now?
I kind of feel like I'm going to get taken over by like the symbiote and all that. And
Oh, it's fine. Those things, you just shout at them and they go away.
Yeah.
Sonics and fire, they don't like those, so you're good, buddy.
Is your main weakness supersonic noise by any chance?
Oh,
No, but
dear.
serious. So, so I think I'll just kind of reply. I don't know, what do you need me to do then? What do you need me to do just now?
There's like a silence, and then you feel Alardan like grip like your arm and like kind of tug at you a bit. And it probably like is pretty startling that somebody's like physically making contact with you,
Mm-hmm.
and he's pulling you away from the pool. Do you like go with him? Because he's an old man and you are a massive elven barbarian. So
Shove him. Don't shove him.
20 blood giants pour out of it. Yep.
Yeah, I suppose just because I've saw what he does if we go against him. So yeah, I suppose I'll go with him at the moment. Yeah, I'll follow his lead.
He just like shuffles you away from the pool for a bit and he goes, "It is best not to overwhelm oneself in the initial contacts." And he kind of nods and starts patting your arm and then like quickly lets go and starts wringing his hands again. And says, "Do you now see?" He just kind of stares up at you.
Yes.
And he smiles. He goes, "And you see your place here, and you are the chosen one. You passed the test."
Still not sure about it though. Yes, I can see that, Alardan. I can see it. Yes.
And he kind of nods and smiles, and then says, "You can commune again, but I would suggest rest first, so as not to overwhelm yourself and thus weaken the connection."
A rest would seem good just now. That would seem good.
He nods.
Please.
"Perhaps tomorrow we shall have more to talk about." He just pats your arm very quickly and awkwardly and puts his hands back to ringing and then like kind of motions up the stairs again briefly.
Never trust a hand ringer.
Yeah, I think I'll just give him a little nod and continue up the stairs.
And he just like it cuts back to the gang sat at the top of the steps and it's just her munching the last bit of her bread. Going, "Oh, he's coming back up."
That seemed less. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised that there wasn't any actual going in blood.
I think she just looks at you, Sarah that is, and then says, "Was that a worry?"
Ah, well, I mean, personally, if I see a big, I'm always a bit worried about it. Shrugs.
But it seemed like he was merely showing us this room to perhaps alleviate any doubts we had about our new friend Eltris's place here. But I guess it's best we discuss that with him. Perhaps in
Aye.
private.
Just nod.
She like turns to Fleabite. What's Fleabite doing at this point in time?
Just lying down, curled up.
I think she'll just look at you and then just turn back to Vanger and just continue nodding as if she...
What's gonna happen? You just
Yeah.
have to wait.
Yeah. And then...
Perhaps you would like to inquire about He's not saying it, but I think
Mhm.
she know what he's not saying.
And she says, no. I think that's She like you can see her like absentmindedly just grip her bangle on her wrist. I think we're quite in the wrong place for such a discussion. I feel we could do better where we were. And perhaps a ladder if they have one. She kind of half laughs at that. And
Wonder where we're under now. It says looking up.
yeah, and I think she looks up with that too. And then obviously, Eltris, you approach them as they're both staring at the ceiling and Fleabite's on a cushion.
Suppose I'll just kind of look at the ceiling as well and be like, what we're looking at.
Yeah, and I think like Alardin is just behind you. We'll look up. Just the four of you are staring at the ceiling. Yeah.
Look down after a minute. Oh, hello. I was just wondering, whereabouts are we?
This is the chamber of the Crimson Mirror. It waves vaguely back at the big
Oh, of
circular
course. Sorry,
tool.
I didn't mean to be. Just in terms of relative to the city above.
Ah, yes, I do often forget we're below a city. And he looks up and like does that thing where like he licks his thumb and just holds it up to the air, and then goes taps it against his chin a couple of times. And goes,
Classic method.
I think it's the center of the town, straight above here. Perhaps the square.
Oh.
And I mean, if you try and do some kind of, if we walked this far that way and this far that way and entered at this part of town, you could probably like reasonably guess. It's not that bad off. Like Fleabite, you're probably a bit better at this if you're even paying attention. But like it probably does make sense based on where you have walked back and forth. Like if he's not right, he's not far wrong. Put it that way. So yeah, it's like the center of. He kind of smiles and goes, "It seems like the connection has been established. He is indeed the chosen one, and he has accepted his place." And he just smiles and closes his eyes and nods.
Lovely.
I think she says congratulations to you, Eltris.
Thank you, I suppose.
We'll see. She smiles with her teeth closed. She's trying to look polite, you know? Yeah. Well, I shall show you to somewhere where you can find some rest. Yes, rest.
Oh, very kind.
And nods, and then just shuffles past everybody. Come. Starts heading back through the big long corridor you went through before. So, anything you want to discuss on the way through the big 25-minute corridor, or he's happy just being shown to rooms?
Question is around.
I'm kind of thinking, obviously, because we're with Alardin.
Alardin.
Think
all aboard, then. Alardin. There you go.
Yeah, that's.
Hey.
See, so I was kind of thinking, like, during this 25-minute walk, is this maybe a good time? Like, obviously, me and Fleabite were down here before and saw the ritual. Is this maybe a good time to ask him what that was? Or what I'm kind of thinking is, if he finds out that we've been spying on him, is that going to turn sour? You know?
It's a good player agency question for the group, isn't it? How did the group feel? Sarah has no opinion.
If you phrased it carefully, I have to imagine you could probably get around that problem. Right? If you said we were trying to find our way through the sewers earlier, and we saw, we heard some ominous chanting, and I wasn't quite sure what to make of it. Is that yourself?
Maybe the word ominous isn't a great descriptor.
Yeah, probably not.
If you weren't good, like, oh, you're being ominous.
What was all that ominous shift of criminal behaviour I witnessed illicitly? Yeah.
Ominous is, I mean, you could argue that there are some implications
I just love that they were also chanting "Ominous."
Like I think if you say, oh, we heard some chanting, we thought that was very strange, didn't know what people were chanting in the sewers for, and we made sure to steer clear of those people, but maybe we had nothing to worry about, and it was all just your friendly selves or something like that. Maybe not in those exact words, because that'd be a bit weird, but
I'll work with that then, Eltrus.
here, deal with that.
What about you, Alexander? What do you think?
I would Fleabite wouldn't reveal that he'd been watching them, but that's not to say that I would particularly want you not to mention it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I would rather you don't mention it, but that's not something that it's important, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was something that Eltrus didn't think of and just mentioned that, oh yeah, Fleabite and I were in the area already and saw you chanting around here. So I think it's probably something that organically would be quite a normal thing to talk about.
Yeah, let's go for it then. I suppose I'll just kind of say to Allardyce, this kind of word it is. I was traversing the sewers earlier. Traversing is my word for the day. Traversing the sewers earlier, and we heard some chanting coming from one of the chambers. Was that yourself and your people there, Allardyce?
Okay, likewise. We are, in a way, traversing the sewers now. You see, we found a home in an undesirable location, you see, which was convenience. And nods. And then says, but this does not surprise me that you had found your way to us earlier. You see? And he looks at you like, you see? He's almost at the point where he's tapping the side of his nose and pointing at you.
Wheels within wheels.
I don't know, does that maybe hit you that you've realised that you've already found your way to these people without that gang that you've now teamed up with, right? Before Fleabite and obviously Vanguard, Sarah, you have already been there. You found your way to them. He's not exactly wrong, is he?
Yeah. No.
There's a beige triangle.
I suppose I'll say to him as well, just quickly though, what about the chanting? What? Why? Why chant?
That is the ritual that we perform. And he nods majestically again.
Ritual for what though?
To protect the city, of course.
I suppose I'll just kind of nod along with that and be like, yeah, makes sense.
They're close enough that I assume I can hear that.
Oh, everybody can hear that, yeah. The corridor is probably quite echoey as well.
Sorry to interject. When you say protect the city, you mean in terms of, for instance, the ongoing appearance of creatures from other worlds, etc., that sort of thing?
What creatures and worlds do you speak of, specifically?
Oh, well, there were a number of beings. First came a group called the Gith, and there were two. He sort of searches for the word. He sort of thinks the tribes is wrong. Two nations or peoples,
factions or something. Yeah, division. Yeah,
they warred with each other, or rather, one warred with the other. It was more one directional from what I saw. But they were fleeing something else, and that something else seems to have turned up. Wait, where was it the attack? Was that Little Bellinor?
Everywhere, to be honest.
Everywhere, but specifically,
the invaders turned up and attacked literally everywhere that was around. Where they appeared, they'd attack nearby settlements, but they would also congregate into like smaller fortifications they can take easily. So if there was like a small keep that looked after like a local, like a bunch of towns, they would like take that and fortify it, and then you'd find that they'd infight more than they would ever like the cities fortified up, the big cities like Little Bellinor, etc., Torque, but they never attacked them after they went crazy and fortified up. They were never actually attacked. There was no. That was when, you know, as the year of the invasion continued, the people in charge were like, they care more about fighting each other than us, so let's just stay out of their way and hopefully they'll all kill themselves. You know? That's the weird thing about the invasion. And obviously you now know why that is. It's because the Zerai, obviously, are being blamed by the Githyanki for awaking the enemy. The Githyanki believe they kill the Zerai. They'll be fine. You know? That's it. That's pretty much what at least Vanger is definitely versed in. But this guy just seems to be shaking his head with wide eyes and goes, No, I'm not quite familiar with these entities you speak of.
I was also referring to the thing. No, I don't want to call it a ship.
You can though. It does look like a big skyship. So
yeah,
you can call it that if you want.
I don't have direct personal knowledge of that, but
I think the others told you about it, right? And there was a lot of
but I
mine
do know
sharing.
that it is a thing that happened.
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of mine sharing enough in Ordak's tent that you could know, you know? For the sake of how many people have came and gone in this game so far. Yeah, I think that knowledge can poetically get to you.
It's been quite exciting times, dangerous time. That was what I firmly believe that is why I was driven to come and venture as I have. But you were protecting the city from something else then?
And he kind of looks at it and goes, well, if you're speaking true about the plague upon the world above, perhaps not. He kind of like gives you a nod as if, well, if we're protecting the city, that we're clearly protecting it from that as well, without knowing. As the implication you're getting from his, you know, weird way of speaking. He kind of nods and he says, I don't know, it is our duty to keep Evershade safe. Just kind of nods.
I note that he avoided the question.
I'm quite good at that. I'm not gonna lie.
Was there a specific threat to Evershade?
He says, not while we keep up the chant. He said that like that's some kind of majestic, you know, answer.
Well, just sort of nod and like, yes, of course, I see. But surely something must have. There must be some concern that led you to begin.
He kind of looks like us. It's a dangerous world, no?
Yes, that's true enough.
He kind of like points like your hammer. And he goes, you would not carry such a tool. I think you're not a carpenter. It's a weapon of war. Yes.
Yes, it's ill balanced for carpentry.
Kind of he makes a face, like as if he had no frame of reference for that comment, and then he says, "You see, we protect Evershade from anything that would cause it harm, but it is not to say that things could not cause it harm. You see."
And he does. He guess he means like he is protecting it, but that doesn't mean it's invulnerable.
Yeah.
Nothing bad can happen. Yeah. No, I think
He kind of nods. He goes, "We Watchers, we protect." He kind of nods majestically as if bowing. And it is the city above we protect, and it is the waters below we protect. He nods. Kind of motioning back to like the chamber, obviously you just came from.
I've heard your name spoken by a number of people I've encountered. around Evershade and in my way here.
I think like you hear Sarah just like clear her throat like involuntarily
Yeah.
at that.
And, yes, I was curious. You seem to be throughout many cities. Is your organisation or group? How to put it politely? Are you all humans, or do you exist in other societies or other peoples?
We find the dedication required of the life of a watcher is best kept to humanity. And he nods to each of you like an apology, but he obviously specifically ignores Sarah when he does that. And then says, "It is not that we would forbid entry of another, such as the Chosen One," and gestures to big buff elf man. We are not here to judge, but to protect, and to usher in the return. And he bows again. It's probably the most awkward 25-minute walk ever with how much he's like nodding and bowing and gesturing.
Yeah, he kind of overdoes it a little bit.
Oh, he 100% does. He's clearly like not had an excuse to entertain people, has he?
He clearly doesn't like talking to the staff.
Yeah.
Twice sensible to the death.
Yes, testing.
Very important. Go test. His
I'll only teach you this one
your
really bad
face.
cantrip. Go test them. It's our most sacred flame. We'll show
Yeah.
them the light. Yes, testing.
Yes.
I know, I'm trying to avoid Cadfill with this guy. I'm honestly like, that's the
Have
voice.
you tried? I try Cadfill and it always comes out fucking Palpatine.
I don't know if I can do Cadfill just now. My throat's not in a good enough condition, I think, to do it.
Operation when your friends arrive.
But anyway, in this game.
It's fun to do.
So, anybody else weighing in on that conversation that's going on? Unless Vanguard's more to say as well.
No, I think Vanguard, it's sort of... He feels like he's got what he's getting, you know?
Yeah, and like, other people are welcome to, like, if they think that there's bits that the guy obviously avoided asking, feel free to reiterate the question if you want. I don't mind if people still want to prod the guy a bit. It's up to you.
I would say, out of character, obviously, that one of the...
Or telepathically.
One of the well, no, because this is very much an observation about what I'm doing. Like, one of the faults that you'll find with Vanguard sometimes is that, yeah, he does generally try and be a nice guy, and he is generally very polite. I mean, he's not necessarily the best manners, but he's polite to people, right? So he's not going to do anything that he feels might be insulting or perceived as insulting. So he sometimes doesn't push as much as he perhaps could. So if anyone were to basically ask something that he'd sort of already skirted about more forcefully, I don't know, maybe the guy might answer more directly if you just go, "Aye, well, what specifically are you chanting to avoid right now?" But again, that's not necessarily going to be in everyone's mind.
True. Yeah, and plus, it's better if people just like stick with what they feel is important to their characters, right? Because, you know, Fleabite's not going to ask random crap questions that other people might care about if it's not specific to Fleabite's needs and desires, you know? It's a good
Well, he's
thing to do.
learning.
So, Eltris or Fleabite, anything else to ask Alardin?
I think I'm good, to be honest. Ever
Yeah.
since you said about protecting the city, I think I'm pretty happy with
Yeah.
that.
Is everything proceeding as you foresaw it?
Yes.
Fleabite might just ask, and you protect from underneath the waters below, yes?
I think he stops when you ask that. He stops walking in the corridor and he kind of like turns on the spot and then says, "Beneath? What do you speak of?"
The ground is ever restless, and from what Fleabite has seen, there is always further beneath.
He thinks about that for a wee second. No. And he kind of like motions back down the corridor and goes, "We protect the mirror, and the mirror protects us. We do not delve deeper, nor climb higher." And then there's obviously the musical notes of Barris that play, and the tune that's in the background music.
Oh, the leitmotif. I like to imagine it's Jerry Rafferty's Baker Street. Largely because the opening bit is stuck in my head.
Oh dear. Throwback to a couple of sessions ago, was that not? As well?
Probably.
Yeah.
I've mentioned that song quite a few times recently.
Oh dear. So yeah, what do people say to that?
Sort of putting along.
Well, Fleabot might say, and you do this since before Great Exodus leave from City Nest.
And he's still kind of standing and has a wee think about that and goes, "When the king left, you mean?"
Just like looking at him.
I
did you-
probably meant that.
And he looks at you, Wenger, when you say that, and he looks back at Fleabot as if still expecting an answer.
Slow blink.
I think he also does a slow blink, and it's probably as awkward as hell. Right? Like it's just Sarah looking between the two of you.
I think Fleabot will say, no, other Exodus, yes. And yes, that is a deception.
Do you want to, I guess, roll?
Rather
with-
not, but
Mhm.
that's how this works.
Yep.
Uh,
Okay. Get out to lying to the poor guy.
well, I thought it was obvious, and if it's not obvious, then that implies that there's.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
mhm.
I think it just wasn't obvious because he's trying to like interpret you.
Mhm.
so, not to put too fine a point on it, but
Are we getting a deception, sorry, or? Oh, we are. Right.
yeah.
I will.
Can
Yeah. What's that?
I add a side dice to that?
I don't know. Can you?
So it's I can. So yes, I can roll a dice and then choose to add it or not.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
All right. What have we got? So, warp powered knack. I like that you've renamed it. Right. When your non-psionic training fails you, your psionic power can help. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool which you have, are you proficient in deception? Really?
Surprisingly, yes.
I am amazed at this. Fleabite the liar. I think you're lying to me, Alexander, right now. You can roll one psionic die and add it to the check, potentially turning failure into success.
Am I a lie?
You expend the die only if the roll succeeds. Interesting.
Yep,
Okay,
so
that's really nice, actually, as an ability. Okay, so I guess you need. There's no reason to not spend it then, really. Right? Amazing. I love it. I love it so much.
Well, I mean that's.
Okay, but it's a 13, no? Right? It is a 13. Give me a
It's
second.
above my passive wisdom, so now I think that you're being sincere.
I presume I can't use that bardic inspiration from like an hour ago.
I think it only lasts 10 minutes, so no.
Yeah.
Sadly not. Do you want to roll it to see what you would have got though in the hypothetical land?
What dice
It's a
was it?
D8. So hypothetically, you could have added. Damn it! I was hoping it was going to be a 1. Right, I need to set this to GM. I'm gonna roll a wee insight against this. Okay.
Oh, Burley.
So it's been set to GM, so he won't see it. But it wasn't great. I'll tell you that much. So he just kind of nods and he goes, "Another exodus? Of whom? From where? To where?" He says quite excitedly.
I didn't expect to get this far.
Your agency moment.
Mhm.
May I suggest that you play off the fact that you don't actually know? I mean, you're a rat person from another dimension. Like, you can
doesn't
just
know
not know about the thing. You mentioned it, doesn't mean you know much about it yourself, right?
Yeah, I think I wasn't going to make up the story because I feel that stand much. Also, do I spend the dice then?
Yeah, you do, because it was a success. That's
Um,
why he lit in with questions, going,
Yeah,
of
that's
whom?
what-
From where to where? Yeah.
I think Fleetlight will just respond.
I'll share in the chat what I got.
Hey. Yes, must have been from before your times. Yes, it is very ancient. Not even Fleetlight know much of it.
I kind of nod. Yes. Perhaps we could discover the answers to this too, in time. Nods.
Sorry, player agency. I've had an idea.
God.
What if like I kind of wasn't. I was just sort of lying about it, but what if I just say it's the Genasi?
Okay. Where are you going next with that?
Like, no further. But if he then does prod it at another time, and I have to come up with some plausible lie or something, or just something plausible, I could talk
Okay.
about. Well, the blue wind things that used to live everywhere apparently, and now don't. That's an exodus.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about it in the right terms, and I mean, I don't know what happened to them. They could all have died, but if you, yeah, you can, yeah, I mean, you can make that work. I don't see why not. Sure.
Yeah, cool.
There's
Vote
very
for 100%
little.
no, but
There's
seriously,
very
I don't-
little that can go disastrously wrong with that, right? I think you're safe there. What does Fleabite say back to him?
Yes, maybe in time, but you mention of when King Lord left City Nest. Did you set up before then? Yes.
Okay, Alexa goes, not personally, no. But the head of the order at the time, yes, of course they would have. They would have been long established. Nods. But who do you speak of, if not the old king?
You keep yourself hidden from the upper levels. You must appreciate that not all knowledge to be shared with all at all times. Yes.
Nods.
Perhaps
Yes.
if we get to know better, then more discussions such. Yes.
What else would you like to know if we are not in a sharing mood? How will you propose to get to know me better? To share? And he kind of smirks at that, and then like nudges you, Eltrist, like, yeah, I got him. In a kind of chuckly old man kind of way.
I reply with that meme that I sent earlier.
Um, I think Fleabite.
Fleabite fights the conundrum. Yeah.
Just, I was just thinking about something dramatic that Fleabite can do.
Green flame blade. No. It worked before.
Fleabite rings the Jezebel
Okay.
and then says, "Actions speak loud, squeak than words." Yes.
Oh, Bell's bloody do as he puts like his hands over his ears.
And then you know, internally you have that exact same from his. Oh, you got him. Fleabite's having that exact same.
Oh dear. Fucking pun off. Yeah. I think after like the ringing kind of dies down from the echoey corridor that you're in as well. Yes, perhaps after some rest we shall be looser of tongue. Yes. Yeah, like smiles at everybody and says, "Come, come." So if anybody else wants to walk and talk and ask him something, do so now. Anything else come to mind?
Sure.
You all have psychic chats via Fleabite relaying it, so you could
Sure.
chat in private on the way as well if need be. There's nothing that comes to mind. You can just skip straight to like being shown into like some, basically like parts of the, the rock that's been carved out into like just, rooms essentially.
Yeah.
There isn't so much doors as like kind of like curtains that fall down.
I'm happy enough with that. I don't know if I want to try any further right now.
User given a room to share, Sarah included, and Eltris is given his own room.
Oh.
Okay.
Loser.
Eltris, your room is like got an actual bed in it. It's not just some cushions on a piece of stone. You actually have a proper room.
Okay.
I think as you're shown to your sleeping quarters, he says, "If you require anything, do not hesitate." He nods to everybody and like shuffles off. Well.
Well, indeed.
So, what's the plan, guys? Because it's the wedding day
Yes.
tomorrow. So, do you want to rest here, or are you gonna like? What is the plan?
It's probably worth resting here very briefly, at least, to discuss. But
Definitely worth discussing.
So why don't you all head over to Eltris's big comfy room, and then I think as you head that way to get some privacy, maybe. I think Sarah takes in the surroundings and goes, "How come you got the nicest room?"
Because I am the chosen one.
And
I'm joking, I will laugh at her. I'm not going to laugh.
oh, you'd have been an enemy for life if you had as well. Yeah, and she goes, "Oh, of course, yes." She does like a full bow to like mock him the way he always bowed, and then looks around and then just like sits in the bed and like does that thing where she bounces up and down the bed a couple of times just to try to see how comfy it is and goes, "Got a full bed and everything." Like she's clearly just annoyed that you got like a room and she got a slab of stone.
I do feel quite bad for her. Like, I feel like chivalry-wise, I should probably give it up to her.
Aye man, it's up to you. You can say what you want to her, but what's the chat now in the room? Eltris also has a door, by the way, that you can close to the room.
yeah. Perhaps we mentally I say to Fleabite, perhaps we should to the door for some privacy, and I'll just do that. I'm kind of hoping he'd relay that, but honestly, it doesn't matter. And yeah, like having said that, So, what's it going to do about? And he's just kind of leaving it hanging because he's like, what do you mean?
Well,
Well, I suppose that I should probably catch us up on what happened, eh?
It might be a good idea.
Yeah. So try to think where to start with this. So the mirror spoke to me. And he wants me to come back tomorrow.
I think you hear Sarah go, I know this one. There's something about a house made of sweets.
I've probably looked more confused at her than at what he said. A house made of this.
She's now lying on the bed, by the way, just staring up at the ceiling with her head on the pillow.
It wants you to return for this chosen
Yeah,
one business.
for some sort of ritual, yeah, where me and the Blood Prince will become one and be united.
Congratulations, you hear mockingly from the bed.
And are you concerned about that, or
Somewhat. Yeah, somewhat.
as I suspect I would be personally?
Sarah sits up and goes, what's his prospects?
In layman's terms, please.
She says,
Well, she's meaning like in marriage terms, right?
yeah, like, is that what you say back though, in like layman's terms, please? Because if so, she will be like,
Because I feel like Layman wouldn't be in this universe, would he?
No, layman would. Layman is absolutely a word.
Mhm.
Layman, it means a person not of the clergy.
I knew that.
So not you.
Not me. No, exactly. I'm not a layman. Correct.
and she says, well, if you are to be one, it is a union, and it is typical to only enter into a union when it is beneficial to both. Yes? She looks at you, Vanger, like, you seem priestly.
She has a point. What is the deal?
It is not explained as of yet. I know that the Blood Prince gets to be reborn, and yeah, they've not really explained what I would get out of this.
I hope I don't sound terribly prejudiced, but two things strike me. First of all, I'm a little surprised how quick you've taken to this, given not having really been indicated anything yet out of the bargain. But also, there's the small fact of how to put it. I don't mean to judge other people's beliefs, of course, but well, I saw the blood.
Touche.
I mean, there are many gods in many different pantheons and all places in the world, and the dwarven culture there are many gods and many different interpretations of how those interact and overlap, and some gods are referred to as the god of this or that might sound a bit unpleasant. That's true, fair enough. Not necessarily saying, oh, blood, that's terrible. I'm quite fond of having my blood. Uh, but there is a lot of it. And generally speaking, it's not a good thing when it's lying about all over. So that worries me.
Sorry, I just saw that coming on the screen there. Love it.
Everything's fine, no, don't worry.
Is anyone familiar with this blood prince?
I can't say it's anything I've ever heard of before.
I think we all look at you there.
So presumably nothing from your culture, not to be presumptuous, but I would hope you have a grasp of of your people's traditions. He's trying to sort of euphemistically say, surely you know a bit about elven religion.
Mm-mm.
I'm just going to nod along with that, like, yeah. But really on the inside, no.
And
Love it.
and it's certainly not familiar to me, but I admit my knowledge of many of the human beliefs is limited, especially in this region. There are all sorts of I'm only dimly familiar with. I've heard of this Storm Mother. I believe she's sometimes considered analogous with some of the gods and goddesses that are found in many of our traditions. But I couldn't
So when
couldn't
that's
directly tell you
mentioned,
which.
when that's mentioned by Vanguard, is there anything obvious body language shift-wise from Eltrus at all, or does that go over your head when he mentions the Storm Mother?
What I'm assuming is the Storm Mother the thing that I got my power from?
Probably.
Yeah.
Being a Storm Herald.
Storm Herald, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, there'd be, I don't know, what kind of, don't know, like, yeah, there would be some sort of shift, wouldn't there?
Yeah, maybe just enough to notice that that's in some way familiar, but not necessarily comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just so others can like know there's something to that if they notice, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yes, you'll no doubt have been familiar, and he won't go any further than that. I think he'll be quite happy just to like, though there's a recognition there.
And you did meet a person who was like talking about the Storm Mother, right?
Yeah.
They called themselves the Child of the Storm, and they had like electrical powers that you never saw much of, right enough. But this one clearly has electrical powers you have seen a lot of, so yeah.
Yeah. Aye, we between us, I don't know that. I sort of look to see it and like, and the did it mean anything to you?
She was kind of like staring off, kind of into space a bit, and she like goes, "Sorry, no, I'm not familiar with this blood prince thing. Still kind of back at the my husband to be was trying to kill me thing. If I'm honest." She kind of just nods, looks at
very
the
fair.
ground. She goes, "And also hoping to find my brother so we can leave. Ideally," she looks around and goes, "as much as it would be nice to get a bit of rest after the busy few hours we have had, I feel like I don't want to stay in the city for tomorrow." She clears her
She's
throat
nodding,
very loudly.
I think
Mhm.
very obviously correct.
Mhm. I think as she does it, she clears her throat and she goes, "I also feel like if my brother is found in town tomorrow, perhaps..."
Would fall under suspicion, and
If people are to fall into suspicions, then maybe we should cause other events so that more is suspicious of more others.
I think she looks at you for a bit, Fleabite, and then she looks at you, Vanger, and Eltrus, with her eyes, and then says to Vanger, probably, "Like a distraction?"
I can see the logic and where he's coming from, and distraction, something something else to blame. Did you have something in mind, Fleabite?
She looks back at you, Fleabite, eagerly, as if, "Oh, this could be good."
I think somewhat casually being like, nest warrens burn, but perhaps it could be for something more. Yeah, and I'll probably leave it at that.
Yeah.
Nest warrens burn.
Right. What I'm getting from that is he wants to commit arson. She just says, like, as if repeating for the audience.
Yes, that does sound like it. And perhaps not the most surprising.
Fleabite, you see, the arson may kill innocent people.
And your broodmate might not die, yes.
Or might die in the chaos that would ensue from the city being on fire. It is hard to say, of course, what the correct course of action is. Perhaps the mirror could tell us. And she says that kind of mockingly towards Realtress.
Well, I am offended.
What, Tom or Realtress?
What?
Both.
Do you say that though? Like, I'm offended?
Oh no, definitely not.
Okay,
definitely not.
cool.
But just Tom.
Well,
I think that if you don't reply to her, though, she'll say, is that not how this union works, no?
Yeah, see, I'm just thinking, like, I don't know. Would you want to ask the mirror? Do you think we could trust that?
She just looks at you like she doesn't know why you asked it. Goes, aren't you trusting this already? And she waves vaguely around at the room. We've eaten their food and enjoyed their hospitality. I feel like we're a little bit past the should we trust them stage. And
We have killed their underlings, yes, too.
more than
See, I'm
two.
just thinking
She just says to
you'll-
herself, knowing full well that's not what you meant, but she's just having
they're
visions of the room.
remarkably relaxed about it. Truth told, I'm a little comfortable with that.
Yes, and we are quite expendable in their eyes, it seems. And she looks to everybody who isn't Eltress.
Well, I'm agreed with the sentiment that we would perhaps be well served to not stick around for too much longer. Only how do we effect our escape? Would like to avoid, if possible, any more unnecessary. Aye.
She just goes, yes, any grim outcomes.
Aye. Yes, let's say that.
She shivers, I think, at that.
It is a grim world that we live, yes.
The wicked world that we live in.
She says, perhaps where you come from, Fleabite, but my little corner of the world was quite lovely until all this happened.
And silent image the coffin, just like a small one in my hand. And
God.
look where that was going to get you, yes.
Yes, that was before all of this, I am saying. She kind of like reiterates, like through gritted teeth a little. Not making eye contact with your illusion at all.
We
Just
can. There's no need for this
Yes,
coffin business.
quite. We're all in this together, it seems, except our chosen one, who is to be wed.
I think Fleabite will look at Eltress and give him like proper sort of attention, direct attention that he rarely actually gives to people, and say, they seem to they convey wish that you make pact join with great power. this can be of great help and lead to power to you, but will always come at cost.
You do have a point. If you're wanting to escape, then I will fully be on board with that.
You say escape, but are we prisoners? He says. She being
I think
Sarah.
Fleabite would ignore her and just continue saying to Eltrus that you came here seeking power and resource, yes. This may be source of it. Just before you make a decision, know that some choices cannot be reversed. Some bonds cannot be broken. And then he'll probably go back to being his normal jittery self.
2 words. I have to agree with him.
Fleabite, if you were having visions in the 80s music video setting, you'd have Cynthia wink windswept at you. Your wisdom you're imparting. Eltrus, your response to that?
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to be the chosen one anymore. This is obviously not Elka speaking, just me. Yeah, I think because I think if I'm staying here, it's certain death, ain't it? So yeah, suppose I'd just say to Fleabite, I understand completely.
Snort.
And at the end of the day, I am happy to follow yous.
Appreciate having you at our side. You certainly proven yourself most capable.
Sarah doesn't say anything sassy, which is probably the sign of respect you're getting.
Ah, that's cute. Finally.
Oh, remember, she didn't witness you do anything in that room. Remember, she didn't see Andy do anything in that room. She just walked in and everything was a mess. Just heard you screaming a bit.
Wee bit of light and just
Uh-huh.
striking the. Well,
Sorry.
on you go.
I wonder though. You seem to have to be almost dragged away from the mirror.
Yes, is he a handsome prince?
He looks just like me, so yes. No.
I think she laughs a little bit at that as you reply that way. Maybe catching her a little bit off guard, you know? Or that's just funny.
Finally breaking down this barrier with her.
It's a good line. Gotta give you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but I think I'll then say to her, but it was just in my head. It was a telepathic connection from what I can only imagine was coming from maybe within the mirror itself. So I didn't see anyone.
Mirror, yes. Mirror is what is a mirror? Aye, here's a thought. Mirror's a surface, yes.
I think Sarah just looks at you. Yep.
There's probably nothing actually physically in the pool. The mirror is the surface that creates the reflection that allows some.
Right, so if I'm following you then, Vanger, he was talking to himself.
Well, I mean, the reflection part of it is that perhaps has something to do with how it gets in your head. I'm not a wizard. I don't. That's a bit of a mystery to me. But there's one thing I do know. mirror, there's a reason there are a lot of superstitions around them. Mirror, in a sense, is a gate. He says that as if it's just the most obvious possible thing. Like,
I mean,
of course,
Linus,
you understand,
Eltrus might
okay,
not
sure.
understand this, but Tom does.
Yeah.
Previous game shenanigans just involving mirrors. Yep.
The mirror is the thing on the other side of the mirror isn't below or here at all. It's somewhere else entirely. So, yes, this is starting to. How did it feel? What happened when they took you away? How did it feel? Were you confused or stuck, or did you feel that you had to be? Vanger's just desperately trying to understand what exactly was happening there, and like, because what he's getting for is like, was the mirror trying to lure you in or push you away, etc., etc.
I didn't feel any sort of force that I can recall.
But they thought there was reason to pull you away.
Yeah, they did say that I would need rest before going back to the mirror tomorrow.
Good.
So, yeah, I don't know if maybe the mirror does have some sort of power.
It's a possibility. It struck me that maybe they didn't want you getting too interested in trying to walk on through. I don't think it would actually work that way, but who knows? The other thing that struck me though is
So Sarah butts in on that part, right? And she goes, what if this mirror was a conduit of a sort, a medium for which it could connect to you? If something is not in it, it may be speaking through it and through you. If you are this, she wouldn't air quote because that's weird, but the equivalent of whatever this world's air quotes are. You are the vessel, as he said, which would imply that you are to carry something, being this Blood Prince's message, if not the Blood Prince himself. She's like slows down because she's obviously just theorizing. She got a 17 on her theorizing, so she's doing okay.
Can I roll for theorizing? I don't know what I want to theorize yet, though.
I
Depends.
actually would also like to roll.
What's the what is the you just need to tell me what he's looking for. What's the outcome he's wanting? What's like the roll to give you?
I didn't actually want to roll. I was just in that.
Because she
I was
rolled
thinking-
Arcana. That's what she rolled.
Yeah, Vanger is not really in it. I was thinking I could roll maybe like religion, because I'm Vanger. I think is starting to.
No, you can
suspect
roll
it
religion
as
if you want. Yeah.
spooky god thing, and obviously they talk about like a vessel and a
Mhm.
medium.
It's very ritualistic, right? So
Well,
yeah. Yep.
Wait, hold on. I shouldn't have got that because I don't have disadvantage checked. Don't get too.
I thought you were just going to use your I cancel the crit against me power from earlier. But
I mean,
that's okay.
if I could retroactively spend some points, I would do it, but I don't think that'd be quite.
No, I just meant your deny death.
Oh no, I know
what
what you meant there. I'm just saying, like, if that would be on the level, I would do it, but I don't think it quite is.
No, I think
So,
we're past the boat.
I think a
sadly, on that
reroll
one.
isn't in.
Sadly, yes. Sadly.
Okay, so
Here's hoping.
yeah. I don't know if you're smart in chat yet.
You can't buy inspiration on a roll you've already started. This one would have
Okay.
disadvantage, so you just need to roll again, sadly,
Okay,
buddy.
that's fine.
Alexander, do you want to refund that to him, please?
It's not good.
No, it is not. It's the 7, obviously, we're taking.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I think you have a think about it, right? And if anybody's wondering in chat, they are significantly exhausted still
Yeah.
It's been a long week they've had in this city, but yeah, I think you have a good think about it, and obviously, like with what Sarah's saying, there's a lot of stuff from like ritual practices, in general about. I mean, firsthand about God's using things or items or vessels or conduits to speak through. And it's more a case of, in your experience, it's because you probably guess that the gods are perhaps unable to be perceived through your ability. So they have to go through a medium, right?
Okay.
Because obviously, you look like a dwarf, but the Great Father maybe doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Might not even have limbs or a physical body or whatever. Like, it might be something unknowable, and thus it would speak through conduits to get to you. It's kind of why you're led to your sapling and such, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like it does make a lot of sense what she's saying. It's just that you can clearly see she's clutching at straws because she has no fucking, like she said earlier, she's not magically trained. She's like fairly well read as a person, but she's not like, she's read stuff that's intrigued her, or she's been made read by growing up and getting certain etiquette training and stuff.
Yeah.
But she's never like specialised in anything because she knew she was going to inherit the estate with her brother. And he's not that much of an asshole that he would cut her out of anything. So she knew that they would work on it together. Plus, he had this special connection with Astarte. So she knew it was more likely he'd run off than her. Because of him being a cleric by D&D terms.
Yeah, and give up the
Mhm.
air.
So it made
Not
sense.
the airship. The
Yeah.
being an air. It's what I meant to express,
Yes.
but I don't know.
The
if it's
Adairship.
for that.
Yes.
Airdom?
Um,
Airdom? Is airdom correct?
The estate, I guess.
Airitude. Airful.
Yeah.
Airful.
Oh, God.
Airfulism.
Yep. Nope. We're good. He's hit thesaurus ramble. So
Some of my best friends are sorry.
thesaurians. Yes. So yeah. I think you can piece together that what she's saying isn't out with the realms of possibility, but I think there's just a lot of missing steps, clearly, that you're not able to parse, sadly, with what you've experienced personally. There will clearly be some kind of transference of something to somewhere, but that's as much as you can glean. On a 7, that's probably more generous than I should have been.
I think he's probably just scratched. There's something more going on here, but I think you're right. But you're just generally giving the impression of being quite troubled. Oh, because he is.
Fair. Yeah.
If I seem troubled, it's only because I am.
I think as everybody's like in that moment of silence. Seriously, so are we leaving then?
No, it's personal.
To go where, yes.
Like she just looks and goes, home. Ideally.
If they have not discovered yet that you are missing from Great House Nest, yes, then it will only be soon. And searching of surround area country and within City Nest will commence.
But hear me out now. Small rat navigator man. And she like looks at everybody to try and see if
It's
there are
quite
tensions.
large for a rat.
And but for a man, he's small.
Yeah,
That's why she has his hand. And she says, if these tunnels that he said they took over and they took over them, she kind of shakes her head as if I wasn't really listening to him when he said that. Perhaps they'll know a way that we can leave the city without the surface needing to be traversed. She looks at Eltrus when she says that. But I doubt we will be able to leave with you, with their blessing. She kind of gives you like a smile through gritted teeth.
Hmm.
And find your brother how, yes?
And she says,
Yes, I couldn't be bothered thinking of the brother word.
yeah, that's fine. And she says, one,
Brother
problem at a time, Fleabite. I am trying here. And then she looks at you, Eltress, and goes, I'm not saying we do leave you, I'm just saying we get them to show us how to leave you. Right?
That should be easy enough
Okay.
sell, I think. We
Yeah.
say to them, can you show us a way to the city with notice? We have concerns. We don't need to even involve him in that bit, and we can quite visibly leave without him. Perhaps to return. That's an option. I mean, I suppose it all depends.
If he is able to walk freely, you said he had some disguise of a sort. He perhaps will be able to follow us outside the city with little problem, since she lifts her hand up and taps the bangle on it. He will know I am no longer in the city.
I would hate to see harm come to a man who's done well by me in the past. Or really anyone if it's avoidable, but you can't always help that.
She does say, don't worry, Master Dwarf, if indeed he does fall in this endeavour, I will see you fairly compensated for your part in this. And she says it in a way that she's like, she isn't sure how much you're doing this out of the kindness of your heart versus he's probably promised you some kind of reward, but she's saying it in a polite enough way that she's just being polite, you know? You could read into that if you wanted to.
I think he's direct enough to probably address that head
Mhm.
on. Please don't. Please don't think that I'm hoping for some reward for this. I take, alms where I can find them. Certainly, life as a wandering priest is not a lucrative one, but the whole business we've conducted in this town was towards a higher aim, and my business dealings with your brother were purely by chance, and I believe chance is well, chance is what men call the designs they can't see.
I say just nods at that. She says, it sounds like you agree with my plan. She looks at like Fleabite and Eltress.
I think
Well,
I'll just kind of nod as well and just kind of say something like, as long as everyone is in safety.
she nods.
Snort from Fleabite.
And she says, we wouldn't leave you behind, Eltress. You have endeared yourself to at least myself, if not the others.
Seem a very good sort. A little curiously willing to accept bizarre propositions, but
And
Okay,
Sarah
so-
like goes, I didn't want to say that. I feel like if I leave you here, you'll die. It's the most motherly she's ever sounded.
if we're all on the same page,
Fleabite's going to jump up onto the bed.
Okay.
Just to like be closer to Sarah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And say, what of did you see in Cave Fight?
Kez looks at it and goes, it was very dark and I only saw the light coming
Exactly.
from the room.
You see almost nothing, yes. In darkness you are complete blind. If you wish to traverse far tunnels of deep underground, yes, you will be very vulnerable.
She motions like the torches and sconces on the walls because my plan was to take light with me, though.
And if there's others that are attracted to light, yes. If these peoples that did not know we were coming into their room, I do not trust that they would reliably be able to see that the tunnels out would be empty, yes. You may have to get past others with lesser intentions.
She looks at you and she goes, but that's what you're for. And that's what he's for. And Vanker, she like waves vaguely at the three of you. You've protected me so far. I have faith in each of you. You seem to wish no harm of me.
Protect you so far as we can, yes. But we cannot go to Torque.
She gives you a weird look as if she doesn't understand. And she goes, why?
We have business and duty in Evershade and up into the Great Mountain.
She kind of nods and she goes, I don't expect to be... And she looks for a word, and I also look for the word. Escorted all the way home if you worry for the journey. I would not keep you from your true calling. She gives you like a funny look at that. But my brother, if you can get me to safety, and my brother is given time to get to me, or even if you were able to expedite his and what's the word? Exodus, she says specifically because of Fleabite's wording earlier, from the city. He will know I have left, and she points at the bangle again. Assuming he has the ability to leave, he can follow.
And if he is there to take you through tunnels, then more protection for you. If we find him before we leave, it is safer for all.
And she looks at Vanguard and she goes, we know where he is though. He's in that estate. But it is about us leaving here to get to there, to come back to here, to leave again. I don't feel we are so free to walk in and out of here. I feel Eltrys here should not be left alone. And she lets that hang for a little bit.
Elfthing has path that must be walked by Eltrys.
So that's it, huh? She just says to you, Fleabite.
If he decides to make path towards more power, but also commit, yes, then that is his path.
But he's not doing that, and she points at him. She goes, he bloody said he wants to leave. That's the first time you've probably heard her swear, as far as polite people swear.
If that is his choice too.
I think she looks at you, Eltrys, as if like half annoyed at Fleabite, just so she's not looking at Fleabite anymore. And she looks at you, and you can tell she's like kind of waiting on a response, even though she hasn't asked you anything.
All I can think of right now is that little smug nod, like, yep.
But is there any thoughts like based on what they've been because they're talking about you, right?
Yeah, they are, aren't they? I don't know.
Well, here's a
Yeah.
question. Here's a question for Tom. Do you want to stay and go through whatever the hell this is, or do you wish to not be a part of it and leave and hopefully not perhaps die in the weird blood ritual?
Do you know, like, see, like,
I know I phrased that in a very charged way.
When we first started, I was like, yeah, let's do this. But yeah, now I'm like, I could probably do without this, actually, couldn't I?
It's up to you.
I would just interject as player agency, whatever, that from what we've heard of Eltrys is he came here to ask the Watchers for help. And the Watchers have sort of said, here, we want you to become something more than you are right now. And yes, implied possibility of that being not overly great. It's it's kind of what you were here for. But I can understand, obviously, the
Trepidation.
yeah. I think fearing the power for the fear's sake is not as much wisdom as it might seem. He says, as a warlock, which is literally someone with powers from.
Mm-hmm. Bad deals or good deals depending on how you look at them. Yeah.
It's just a deal.
I do love that the warlock is giving you advice about, maybe you were meant to be here to make this creepy pact with a blood prince, or maybe you weren't supposed to do it, but kind of you need to make a judgment call and make it. Chuckles the warlock.
That much is true.
I think also, or maybe back in character, if they would say, Nestwarren Lord has great power and can affect causes in all surrounding area and city. If he is free to do such, then we may not have great chance at remaining undetected. If he is distracted with other events, then chances is increased, yes.
Alarmed to find how much he says I actually eat with.
I think
The
so,
great
before
enemy in
you leave it, I think Sarah does reply to Vanger and says, "It seems we're all very well versed in making poor decisions." And then Fleabite, you say,
the great enemy invaders have caused havoc and destruction all across the land, yes, but not here. They have here Nest City Lord has great power and can hold sway over this land. I would not be so brave as to simply think we can flee without hindrance.
I think Sarah thinks about that for a bit. Says, "Do you mean Noah?" And she looks at you. That's the Fleabite, by the way.
Yeah. Fleabite's like, oh, man things. Why does everyone need confirmation on what we mean? And given the lack of success of just waiting for them to figure it out has had, I guess, say, City Nest Lord, yes.
But didn't the Alardin? She shakes her head about. Yeah, Alardin. Didn't he say that the reason the city was protected was because of them? She's
they believe.
right.
Case. Oh.
And she looks up and she goes, "I don't think this really matters, to be honest." And she looks at you, Fleabite, as if, Looks over at Eltris. Eltris, are you staying or are you coming with us?
I
And then you don't reply because
okay.
you just fall to the ground like a plank of wood in front of everybody, and behind you is standing Cynthia. And she says, "Quick, grab his feet." And that's where we go to the end of the game. That's where we go to credits. Yeah. So, what would you like to name that session?
Alright, okay, so there's a thing that Mark Wade wrote in the Fantastic Four run that we both complain about a lot because he decided that it should have no character other than being a villain.
Okay.
He writes in the back that he just writes about sort of doing stuff differently than a lot of comics had been for a while. And one of the things he said is about how a lot of like naming conventions for story arcs and things had become very unoriginal.
Right.
And for instance, a lot of them were references to movies or songs. So with that in mind, I'm going to suggest we rip off an AC/DC song.
Okay. I like the preamble. Okay. So, if you want blood, you got it. Okay.
Are we?
I mean, sorry.
Are we opening it up to anyone in chat if they have any?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, why not? Like, I don't mind taking suggestions. We've done that before anyway, right? Anytime there's a
The
good one
actual
from
song
chat.
title is just "If You Want Blood," but the lyrics, you know,
Mhm.
"If you want blood, you got it." You know,
Mhm.
I can't do Bon Scott it or the. Oh God, what's the current singer? What's the one that isn't dead?
I actually don't know.
Brian something, is it? Is it?
Brian, yes, it's Brian something.
Reed?
See, I was going to say Johnson, but I know it's not Brian Johnson.
I would have guessed Brian weirdly, but I don't think I know his surname. The only reason I know that is
Ah,
because
if you
of
know the vocalist of AC/DC's name. For some reason, I'm not googling it.
Me neither.
I don't think past members, Brian Johnson. There
Brian
you
Johnson?
go.
I was
There
right.
you go. Well done.
Brian
I don't really like
Francis
AC/DC
Johnson.
back in the day. Don't really listen to them so much these days, but good band.
Mhm. Yeah, they're good. Yeah. So, any other suggestions for the session titles? So we've got Exodus, Fleabite versus the Conundrum, The Ritual, Fleabite as a spelling correction. If You Want Blood, You Got It. Brian Johnson versus the Conundrum.
No, that's no. I've talked myself down from one. I was going to suggest Drowning Pool.
Ah. Oh God. I know. I was thinking of a way to word that.
Yeah.
I was like, because I was going to put loads of ellipses in it, like the chosen one.
You could do it like this as well. This would be. They were the kids.
Oh, hold on.
Well, it just you were supposed to be the chosen one.
Here's a reference.
Okay. Yeah, we've also got a suggestion in chat as well. Eltris Awaken.
Oh.
Not bad.
I feel like that needs some sort of big like fantasy theme tune behind it. I've got in my head the Back to the Future one, like do 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 do.
Or Jurassic Park, right? You could get away with a Jurassic Park theme for that.
If it's Jurassic Park like played on that recorder, like all the music.
Or it
Right,
could be the
what
Lost in
about-
Space theme, right?
What about returning to my previous themes?
Let the bodies hit the floor. Maybe like last week that would have been quite a good one.
Well, just because it ended with a guy tipping over and
Mhm.
let the body
True,
hit the floor.
true. And
I
that
like
is
how it
Drowning
is
Pool.
his body. Like,
Yep.
There's also Papa Roach's blood brother. That's an option. We Must Have Blood by the Dwarves.
Have we had There Will Be Blood? Is that a thing we've had? Actually,
Haven't seen it.
also, The Blood Prince hasn't been suggested yet, which I thought was a bit of a surprising oversight. Was
Two on the note.
was thinking more bat metal. Well, anything else?
I think this is the most suggestions I've ever saw.
We do this sometimes.
Let me.
Go Spice Girls and have two become one.
Well, that's my favourite in it already. I'm just going to vote. Just save it.
On some of the themes Fleabite was talking about it.
But the reply that Fleabite has to that is yes, please. Or just yes, sorry. Oh dear. Okay.
Side of chips.
Yes, no, whenever you say that, it's Cashfelt
I know.
forever in my head.
I know, I can't not.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Pork for breakfast.
So unwholesome.
Oh, it's just, yeah. It was supposed to bring balance to the blood. Yep. Okay. I think.
I'm gonna vote for it if you want. No, I'm not, because that would have been better last session. No,
I'm
I'll
gonna
leave it out.
I'm voting for my own suggestion that Tom also voted for. The two become one.
No matter what you say in an argument, like if you put in a Spice Girls reference, you've won it. Like it's just given.
Mhm. Yeah. Spice up your life.
I really don't know.
My favourite Spice Girls song, by the way. Just so you know.
My favorite is all of them.
Folks, I don't know. I might
Yo,
get
that's you
cancelled here,
sliding
but
down
I
that
don't have a
Kinsey
favourite.
scale, I think, just so you know. Or up the scale? I don't know. Okay.
It's up.
Oh,
Up,
also,
definitely up.
Mirror Mirror is another suggestion as well. Yeah.
On the floor.
Mm.
A mirror in many ways is like a door.
What's the thoughts on Mirror Mirror? It's not bad. Not bad at all. I quite like
Quite
it.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got another really, really, really good one.
Oh, here we go. If you want to be my vessel in the bin, you gotta get with my Blood Prince. Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Spice up your elf. Oh dear. Who do you think you
Office
are?
Red
The
Suit.
Blood Prince?
Well, if I just turn into Spice Girl references now.
Viva the Blood Prince forever. Yep. Step to me, the Blood Prince. Let love lead the way to the Blood Prince. Right back at you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna vote for Mirror Mirror as well. Sorry, Tom.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm voting Mirror
I'm
Mirror.
trying to come up with a typo negative pun. I can't. Shit.
There must be some kind of Eltris as the chosen one. Maybe that's a typo joke you could throw in somewhere. There's a joke in there somewhere. Somebody do the
Yeah.
work.
Typo.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy so far. Any other suggestions? Because I think we've got two for Mirror Mirror, which I enjoy. Thank you very much, Diamond Knight 72, and thank you for the follow as well. And same with you, Mr. Grumpy Scotsman. But yeah, what's the thoughts? Are you happy with those? Because that's currently the winner, vote-wise, is Mirror Mirror.
I do like Mirror Mirror, but I'm scared. I don't want to take my vote off to become one just for the
That's fine.
Spice Girl thing. But I'm happy to go with Mirror Mirror because it is actually my favourite. But I just feel like I'm
Yeah, you're loyal to your Spice Girls, I get you.
Yeah.
It's your
The
strongest
Spice
suit.
Girls-
yeah.
The Spice Girls will know if you change
Yeah.
your vote.
Well, as avid
it's
fans of my channel,
Someone was talking not that long ago. I've probably talked about this, but I'm gonna do it again. I
can
can't
I wrap
remember
up the
who it
game
was.
before we
Someone's
go
talking
off
to me
topic, or
about
good? On topic?
it's in the Spice Girls.
Okay.
So someone was talking to me not that long ago, maybe just before lockdown, so a while ago, about the Spice Girls, where they were mentioned in some context, and whoever it was, I can't remember, referred to the pretty one,
They're all
and I was
pretty.
like, right. First of all, yeah, I don't
Uh-huh.
think any of them are bad looking.
Yeah.
But I was like, so that's obviously Melanie C, right? And that is not who they were referring to. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, I was
That's
just
really
amused
random.
by it's. Sorry,
Who did they mean?
I think it was Posh.
Right,
I think
okay.
it was Posh.
What? What? Not
I don't
joking.
know. I honestly don't remember. I just remember it
Right.
wasn't Mel C. Which
As
I
our-
thought, are you insane?
As our true test of time, Alexander, who's the prettiest Spice Girl? Andy that doesn't get that, it's because he's young.
I can name more. Now that I think of it, I can name more Spice Girls than I thought I could
Okay.
initially.
Oh, there's only 5, so yep, it's
Like I know,
Buttercup,
oregano, thyme, rosemary.
Um, like I wouldn't have said that that one the one that's married to David Beckham,
Right, Posh Spice, yeah.
Posh, yeah.
Victoria Beckham.
just because. But I've only known her as like since marrying David, or
Right.
since being married to David Beckham
Mhm.
for
And
a
that
decade.
probably does things to you that aren't great. You know what? For all I know, David Beckham's a nice guy. David Beckham, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
Because it definitely is.
David Beckham, if you're listening, please call somebody. You have got very lost.
He's in his kid's computer. He doesn't know what any of this new stuff does. Watch a fucking TikTok.
Did you enjoy that, Alexander? Oh dear. Anyway. Somewhat back on topic. Who is the prettiest Spice Girl, Alexander?
Like I can picture a recent-ish picture of Jerry something. I want to say
Hannah?
Jerry Ryan, but that's not right.
Oh,
Jerry Halliwell.
It's not
Sure.
true. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed that.
Jerry Anderson.
That's-
Yeah.
That's the only one that that one and Posh Spice. That or
Right.
no, Scary. I'm not going to pretend I know which is which. So those
Okay.
two are the only ones that I can picture a modern. I can picture at all.
How to put it delicately?
No.
Scary has one defining feature that maybe makes her more memorable in certain aspects.
She was the tallest.
i.e., yeah, you wouldn't confuse her with anyone else in the band.
Mhm. So yeah, I don't know. From my very not heterosexual point of view, I think I don't know. Like Mel C, when she actually wasn't just in trackies, was a good-looking woman. You know, like
Hey, from the southwest of Scotland. How dare you insult my people's clothing?
I like Mr. Grumpy Scots, but yep, depending on when. But like Baby Spice. See, I don't know. Emma Bunton, not for me. No, don't know what it was. Something about. I don't know. She looked like she should have also been.
No,
on
it was that they were
EastEnders.
referring to Emma. I'm sure it was Emma. No, yeah, no, it was her.
Right, okay, that's
They
weird.
meant not Posh. I don't know why I
Yeah.
got Posh. Not that any of them were unattractive.
As I
at
said, they were
all.
all good looking. I just wanted to see how Alexander would fare in that conversation, being the youngest here.
It's an unfair question to ask. I think.
Yeah, but it led us to that really funny David Beckham comment I didn't realise would land as well as it did. So that was nice. Anyway, we're calling the session Mirror Mirror. I'm glad we all got there in the end. Oh, we're trying to avoid such things on Twitch, Mr. Grumpy Scotsman, that's for sure. But yeah, besides that, let's look at goals. So
I was fastidiously avoiding it. Is that the word? I mean,
Is that
whatever.
fastidious, yeah, I think that's good, yeah. Right, so general goals. Did we convince Charleston to reclaim his house? Unless he's saying that.
Did we fuck?
Did we get Sarah home alive?
I mean, we're working on it.
Did we uncover what the Watcher's ritual in the sewer was?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Indeed we did. Put it over.
Did I remember that was a goal?
The answer is no.
Maybe subconsciously. You know.
Okay. Yep. Put that over in the completed line. Have we uncovered the Noah Glint secret? The answer is no. And did we test the Wadares of the Watchers?
I'm still not sure exactly what that means, other than like a wee sip of water.
Just maybe want to like actually clarify it just now then and make it a goal that's maybe understood. Like, what are the waters of the Watchers? Or what is, I guess, what is. That's what I meant to say. What is the waters of the Watchers?
Just what? What?
So
Or more like Steve Austin? What?
I thought that was sort of talking about our like how receptive they would be to helping us.
No, because I very clearly said about 3 times in a row it was not about testing their metal or like their resolve or any kind of metaphor that was literally you just wanted to know what the water was.
See, you said it like 3 times. That just reinforced it in my mind.
Okay, I think I'm just going to delete that goal. And we can,
That's probably fair.
yeah,
I would submit that it's quite funny.
It is also funny, but also we'll come up with something that makes sense. Right. So Fleabite, you still have not established a place to lay low. Yeah. Eltris, earn the title of Chosen One. You're still kind of in debate about that, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of been stolen away from my goal there, and it's not very fair. Somebody's grabbed my legs. Yeah.
It's fine. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Haven't the best of us.
Yeah, Vanger, you're investigate the Balam and Thaki connection.
I'm gonna say it seems a little further than I might like it to.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
But equally, I do feel like there's a connection between obviously Thaki and the Watchers, and we are doing Watchers stuff. So again, I'm reluctant to ditch it right now
That's
in
fair.
case I fucking solve it while it's ditched, essentially.
There are
So
multiple slots available in the general goals currently. There's 2 empty goal slots though. So you could
that is a
have
fair point.
multiple goals, unless Andy's got some obvious goals, because there's 2 empty. What are we thinking?
Daily Facebook. That's what I'm thinking. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just waiting on you guys. What's the thoughts?
Rescue Eltris?
From what?
The potential Freaky Friday? No, it's not. Freaky Friday's wrong because obviously that was a swapperoo, a swapperoo is now what I'm going to call it.
It's okay. You just work on that one.
From potentially having his being deleted and replaced by something.
So find Warren Canty, Alexander. Like Vanger and Sarah know where he is, or at least know where the bangle is, right? Murder someone himself. Yep, these are good goal suggestions. I like it. From chat. Rescue Warren Canty assumes he needs rescued though, which means it might not even be a valid goal. I think it's reunite Warren with his sister, aka reunite Cantor Balem with his sister. Is a good goal.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and it still leaves a blank one for you. So, any other thoughts?
I mean, Escape Evershade makes sense, but we're kind of going back in. So,
Back up, I guess. Yeah. Back to the surface. So, yeah, what's the thoughts then? You could have what's the most important thing to the party right now? What's the most immediate issue?
Cynthia. Nah.
Don't know.
Okay.
I know, obviously, you might think that currently, but yeah. Others? Alexander, any thoughts?
I guess establishing a relationship with like Watchers, be it good or ill.
I mean, that's an autocomplete really one way or the other though, right? So I think it's establish a good working relationship, or establishing a bad one isn't really a goal, because how much of a challenge does that be when you could just stab them? What have we got? Need to find out if Eltris is in danger or simply about to hit the power boost. True that. That might come from so Eltris is a personal goal there, Diamond, and it might be the earn the title of the chosen one might define that, if he chooses to, or not. So that's kind of covered by that. It's similar enough, I think. But I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, that's fair. Just knowing more about the ritual would be really useful.
Yeah. True. Yeah, like learn more about what is involved in birthing the Blood Prince. Always a great phrase, isn't it? So yeah, that is true. Yeah,
Bursting the Blood Prince doesn't sound horrible at all.
Let
That's
the blood prince hit the floor.
Definitely sounds like
Ah,
Sounds like what, Fleabag?
nothing.
Okay, we have one more empty goal slot. What's it going to be? So we've got convince Charleston, get Sarah home, reunite Warren and Sarah. I think the only reason why you still call them Warren is because of the reference to Warrens, as opposed to Cantor. And uncover Noah and Glint's secret, and a blank one. What are we thinking, guys? So, what do you think will happen next session? Do you think we're going to like chat with Cynthia, get the banter, and then escape? Because it definitely seemed like she was like quite quick to get his
Probably.
legs.
I trust the intervention of the spooky woman.
Fair.
Listen,
Starts
who
rocking
you
back and
start
forth.
complaining about her? Where are you getting your purse from?
Fleabag shuffles awkwardly. Oh dear. Snort some earth elemental stones. Yep.
Although, to be fair, Rose has written she has less control over your powers than my god does over mine.
Mm.
But I would add, my god doesn't just randomly appear behind people and, ask us to move the body.
at least your God gave you powers. I've just been snatched away from mine.
Well, it's a little paralysis amongst friends.
I mean,
You know?
you don't know he's a god. He could be a demon. He could be both. He could be a devil. That's distinct from a demon in meaningful, important ways.
Super.
I mean, it actually kind of is, but it's just hilarious to me that that's a distinction.
Right, okay. Goals going once. Anybody got any ideas? Going twice?
Like-
I promise you I will think about a new goal, but for now I'm leaving that one in.
You got one for Lyco yet?
Well, I mean, fine lie.
What was that, Alexander?
Like I think finding out more about the ritual, finding out like will the ritual kill Eltris or something along that line.
I thought you meant another rich. Oh, actually, that's a good point. It might be worth finding out what exactly it is that the ritual does that protects the city, right? Like, are they putting up like a giant invisible blood shield? I mean, what is it? Because whatever they think is protecting the city, let's say it actually is, but maybe that's something that we could use to our advantage if we understood it.
I mean, it's definitely something that seems to be protecting them from the invaders, right? The Gith aren't here. So,
Yeah, well, I have a rock that protects us from tigers.
how much do you want for the rock?
See, the problem I always have with that cartoon, like that gets like that thing, and like the meme gets used and like it got memeified into like World of Warcraft and stuff. Is like people always use that to compare it to inappropriate things, like the threat of nuclear war. Like people always use it as like, well, mutual assured destruction is like saying, oh well, look, the tiger didn't attack me, so my rock wards off tigers. It's like, right, but we know there aren't any tigers where I am right now. Whereas we know there were nuclear weapons pointed at countries. Like anyway,
It's a bit of a
sorry,
stretch, but I get it. I get what you mean. But it is a bit
I've
of a
come to
stretch.
hate that phrase
Yeah.
just because of the way people use it.
Blood dome.
And it really bugs me. Anyway,
That'd be a
sorry,
bit-
it's not
if
your
they
fault.
ever reveal that, Mr. Grumpy Scotsman, if they ever reveal there's a blood dome above the city, that's the session title. Has to be. Or Thunderdome. We can somehow get some Ultras lightning action on the go. But yeah, okay. So going twice or I forget where we are now in the countdown. So what ritual do you care about?
Yes.
But I think right now we are more worried about the possession one.
Sure. So, I guess learn the outcome of Eltris's ritual. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. If we remember that session title when that happens and it has not been deleted from our memories by then, I guarantee it will be suggested by me. Asterix down below, asterix, I will never promise that. I will forget 100%. I am already sorry.
I promise no one anything.
Learn the outcome of the Blood Prince ritual. Yeah.
So that means we have to go through with the ritual.
Um,
no.
Learn
wouldn't
what the
say.
expected outcome is.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
thank you.
yeah. It's like
also,
well,
like
chuck him in, see what happens. Yeah.
like we do go back and forth with goals quite a lot. Like there's goals that we've put in and then just taken out.
Or
And-
tweaked and stuff as well. Like the goals is not like a smooth process. It is just an ongoing tweaking. So don't worry about it. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Grumpy Scotsman. But yeah, so what is the Is that it? Are we changing any other ones? Is there?
I would say no.
Okay. Okay. If that's the case, then going once, going twice, going 3 times, done. So the last thing to do then is wrap up chat. So let's just start with Fleabite. Actually, no, let's do
Yes.
XP before we go into that. Actually, let's just XP. He's all get 100 XP addition because that was a goal he's completed. So that's 800.
800, did you say?
But he's a level 8, right? So it's 100 times your current level. Yep.
So
For a gold.
300.
I just type that in a chat somewhere, whatever it should be. As I said, he's got a goal completed, so it is XP. I just try not to forget that fact. So what should the new number be?
I put it in thingy just below my. Yeah, that was probably not the ideal.
Is it a 36300?
36,300.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Nice. Yeah, I've every updates to that. Right, sorry, sleeping.
Yeah, interesting. I think it's like I don't want to be trying to push Eltrus into the ritual. I just don't want you to discount it for being too scary. Basically, because it's like it's getting power, and that's something that, while it might not seem that Fleabite does, it's just because he doesn't do it very well. But gaining power and strength and possessions is kind of his deal, and acquiring it through nefarious means even better. And man, of course, Cynthia was going to show up.
Yep.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it will go.
It will go, yeah.
I'm sure Eltrus will look great with the Demon Prince possession and jeweled teeth.
Yeah, right.
And,
Such reassuring phrases from the guy that's been in the game the longest. Yep.
I do think that we did sort of declare war on the
Tonans or the
Tanan.
Mhm.
We've stolen his bride, and he knows it was us. And that is something that we should be addressing actively in the remaining time that we have, till he starts to address it actively. And hopefully, either he's got other things to worry about, or he is not able to worry about it. Is my hope.
This is how we end up with arson, isn't it? This is how we end up with arson as plans. Oh dear, so good.
I mean, there was worse things that, not even like having veil things, just specific things that might come up next time. So I do think just running into the tunnels and hoping that we don't leave, we don't like exit into the countryside and just be, face to face with an armed.
What, the Tonan
vampires.
Inquisition, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
is that feels like a fairly legitimate concern.
Yeah.
And if we then have to go back into the city to rescue Canty, then
Hmm.
I feel like he's going to be already dead, and his arm bangle will be
Absolutely.
pointing the way to Sarah for someone else.
Why is it playing? Sorry, mute.
Okay. It's almost like small soldiers have attacked him now.
I tried to download a fucking podcast, right? I wanted to download something and then it played a different thing and it wouldn't stop playing. Anyway, I'm sorry about the interruption.
Please continue, Fleabag.
So yeah, that is it's fairly sort of it's destabilizing cities and causing mischief is kind of Fleabag's bag. Like, so I feel he can be a bit more outspoken and reasoned than he sometimes is.
I like that it was Fleabag's bag that you said there. It's good.
Well,
It's close enough. Yep.
and yeah, just that being a being that has gained power by making a deal with a nefarious entity, what Eltress is going through is relatable, more so I think to Fleabag than others
Yeah.
might expect.
Makes you wonder why Cynthia's appeared as well, doesn't it? Like, throwing in her, jeweled teeth into the mix. Yeah. Anything else, buddy?
Next time, oh no.
Yeah.
Yep.
Vanger.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Anyway, yeah, okay, that was a bit of a talky one, but that was a nice little surprise visit at the end.
Mhm.
I genuinely didn't see that coming.
Good. I'm glad I can
I-
still
I
surprise
had
you after
not-
all these years. Yeah.
I know. I had not anticipated she would directly intervene. I am not surprised that she had something to say. Because like there's definitely like a sense of maybe. I mean, she painted the picture of the city. She's clearly got some sort of connection to it. Like maybe like sort of rival powers over the city or something like that. Who knows? But there was definitely a sense in my head that she could be connected, but I didn't ever expect her to actually just bloody well turn up. So that was exciting.
I'm glad.
And yeah, like there's Eltress has obviously got a lot of indecision. I'm very curious to see what he eventually does decide to do. And yeah, like also like this was an interesting one for Vanger because Vanger is an extremely polite person. Polite in the sense of he is polite to people, as I specified earlier. He's not necessarily got the finest manners because he's a wandering priest,
Mhm.
but he is a person who seeks to avoid rudeness and generally tries to be quite sort of tolerant and friendly. Having said that, he definitely got his heckles up with some of the stuff that they said. That definitely was like, this is don't know if I like this. This sounds like it could be dubious magic. But
Mhm.
equally, he was kind of in a position where he didn't necessarily want to start a further confrontation. So it was an interesting
Understandable.
balance to strike. And yeah, I'm just really intrigued to see what choice Eltress, and really what choice Tom makes, right? Because Eltress, you really, you don't really seem to have a great deal of choice at the moment in character. But there's also the fact that like
Another suggestion
isn't
for a
gonna be
title
one of
there.
the
The choosing one. It should have been.
but there's a sense where right things like this are. It's one of those places where meta sort of has to come into it, where it's a case of, do I want to commit my character to do this? So I think that's quite interesting.
That's good. Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm just I'm intrigued to see where it goes from here. All sorts of weird and wonderful things going on. I hope that arson does not, end up being the plan. That to me would seem like a negative outcome. But you know who would agree with it?
Who?
We seem to have run out of connections to him, except arguably not.
Mm.
As of the end of this session, although connection is maybe the wrong word.
Are we cheeky king on an airship?
Yeah,
perhaps.
Van Richten probably
Yeah.
wouldn't be if you suggested it. Says, look, I've got a plan for Evershade. I'm going to find the most flammable sector. That to me, like that is, it's not an option that Vanguard would ever choose. But Fleabite is not Vanguard.
Yeah.
Laughs at
So-
neutral evil.
I actually changed. I don't know if I changed it on the character sheet. In fact, when I was writing up a sheet for him, yeah, I didn't. I think it's fair. I consider like alignment to be more descriptive than prescriptive, right? So I've been thinking about this. And is it fair to say that Vanguard is basically good, or at least neutral good?
I'd say neutral good easy, right?
Yeah, I originally conceived him as someone who's a bit more like hands off, a bit more laissez-faire, like let what happens will happen. But
I think like from what I've experienced, I don't know if obviously Fleabite's probably a better like kind of judge based on being a bit more objective than me maybe. But what do you think, Fleabite, based on your experience of Vanguard? Not Colin, obviously, but Vanguard.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, he would try to do the right thing, even if it was inconvenient to him. Maybe not if it was going to directly harm him, but even then, like,
Oh, he did do that, right? With the wolf with Calastris, right? He did actually like say, we've kind of been working for Twinan." Right, so there was that.
true, but that's sort of doing the right thing of, I guess, more direct harm. It's a sort
Yeah.
of like, would he walk into a fire if he was given plus 1,000% fire resistance to, save a book? I think there's limits on what he would do, but he would still do the right thing in most, or the good thing in most circumstances, and not for reasons of doing it because it's the law or doing it because I don't know what I don't really know how chaotic good works, but so I think he would sort of definitely fall into that neutral good stance.
I think that's really well put.
Well done. Yeah. Anything else, Colin?
So I'm going to change it.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that's my part said. No, you
Plus-
summed that up very well. I can't disagree with the word you said.
If also you find that you do find yourself sliding back to neutrality, though, like I don't mind if people update this, so long as it makes sense for who they are in the moment. I just feel like if you're changing it for mechanical reasons, which there are very few of, then it will become obvious, and I don't really think that's going to be an issue, quite frankly.
The question in neutral good actually is, like chaotic good. Sorry, is interesting. I think chaotic good would be more. I did the right thing because I fancied it, right? Because it seemed fun, or I did the right thing because it impressed people, or something like that.
Like burning
Yeah.
down an orphanage because they were all literally possessed demon army children might be more like chaotic good, right? Because it is the right thing to do ultimately because demon possessed children, but it's also not exactly the normalist way to go about it, right?
But then a lot lawful good arguably would just like crusade the shit out of them instantly.
Well, so it depends on people's definitions of lawful, and we're going to go way off topic here, right? But very briefly, I'm going to just say lawful is about having an order of doing stuff, and chaotic is not following like a standard pattern, right? So lawful is you have a pattern. It's not just following the law; it's following order, and the other one is chaos. So it's following what you think is right in the moment, I guess. So it's a tricky one to like find out. It's why the alignment system's kind of dumb, and obviously nobody should really overthink it. So,
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan.
but anyway, in conclusion, Eltris.
Yeah, that was a roller coaster.
Just got to ride it.
Yep. Yeah. It was eventful and strange, and I think, like at one point, obviously, obviously, I think it kind of got brought up and stuff that at the end of the day, I was here to find the Crimson Mirror anyway, so it would make
Fair.
sense for me to go forward with that, and I totally get that. But I don't know about you guys anyway, but personally, I am afraid of death. So I don't know if I want to go through with it. But yeah, I think after getting that little bit of respect off Sarah as well, when I was saying kind of like, nah, maybe this isn't for the best.
Mhm.
That made me feel a bit good, you know. But
Yeah.
uh,
Because she's
I
dealing
don't
with a
know.
lot of stress right now. Like, it's not necessarily like she's being nasty on purpose. She just doesn't know how to respond to the ever-growing farce. Yeah, I suppose that is true. Like, Diamond Knight has a good point. Like, Chaotic Good's kind of like keeping the sister alive, but not necessarily letting her find her brother. And just getting her out of the city. Yeah, I can see that. I suppose also it's burning the city down for the distraction, I guess, which is probably just chaotic neutral.
It's chaotic.
Yeah.
Chaotic,
Fleabag.
chaotic.
Yeah. Chaotic Fleabag. I think that one is.
Yeah.
Although again, could be lawful. I mean, like you can very easily imagine.
Walter
a
would have done
paladin
that. Yes.
Mhm.
Walter would 100% have done that, you know. Damn Maleficarum in the city, burn it all down. Yeah, I can see that.
Was
okay.
the emperor lawful evil? I
Uh,
suppose it depends which emperor.
yeah. So, Eltris, sorry. Please carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have a long, hard think over the week on whether or not I want to do this. But what I'm thinking is at the same time, I'm in the process of being kidnapped, you know? So am I going to get a chance to go back to this and be like, yeah, put your prince inside me? You know what I mean? Like, is that going to happen? I wanted that very badly. Wait,
You
can we
feel
just-
like that?
If
You
you
know,
want
I
to
don't
be
know.
my blood prince boyfriend, you gotta get with my friends.
Yeah, you got to get with my flea biting Vanger.
Wow,
but you know,
fuck you,
so-
Sarah, eh? For Sarah.
Sarah is
More of an
um,
acquaintance, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, it depends if what happens next. If we actually get the chance to go back there, but if not, you mean like if she's gonna get us out, you know, because I'm assuming she's gonna be able to, like, I don't know, magically teleport us or something, you know. Like, I don't know how she works. I've never came face to face with her before.
You still haven't?
I still haven't. I'm unconscious and I feel like I'm rambling now and I don't know where I'm going with this.
It's okay.
But if we get out, am I going to get back? I don't know. And if I do, I don't know. I'll think about it over the week and see if I want to do this or not. I was, just on a complete side note, which isn't really a side note, I was looking at my character sheet, and in the ideals, it does say, like, one of the things here says, might in life, as in war, the stronger force wins. And then I was kind of like thinking about that, and I was like, Eltrys as a person would totally go for this then, because he's going to get power, isn't he?
Yeah. And
he
you
believes
want
that the
you
stronger
want
force
revenge,
wins.
right? You do want revenge, so that is a thing, right? Makes
I find the
sense.
choice very interesting. You've gone for this sort of elven barbarian character. I find it just really curious because, like, every time you talk about something like that in the abstract, I'm thinking, okay, orc. You know, like that's like,
Oh dear.
yes, I will take the ambiguously evil being into myself so that I might become stronger to punch my enemies harder in the face. Absolutely. But again, like, I get that you have a higher motive. I mean, a higher motive in as much as you consider revenge a high motive. But yeah, it's just really incongruous. I just suppose that's partly because I have this very stereotyped view of what elves are.
Yeah, it's like a lot of this stuff is that arguably he wasn't a quote unquote mechanical barbarian before all of his people got murdered on the way up here, right? Like,
Okay.
you know, could have been a fighter up until then.
Yeah, I just became a barbarian yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a very long day. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably a couple of days ago in terms of travel up to Evershade, but like a couple of days ago, it's like, yes, well, things got very angry, and I stayed angry for a while. So yeah, makes sense. The Storm Mother works in mysterious ways, you know. Anything else, Tom?
The only other thing I was going to say was picking up on Vanger's when he was in his wrap-up saying about how Eltrus is obviously indecisive. I think it's definitely Tom's indecisive and not Vanger. Not Vanger, what am I saying? Sorry, not Eltrus. See, I don't even know who I am anymore. That's how indecisive I am.
Or the chosen one.
Oh, yeah. So that's about all. That's it.
That's okay. I thought you were.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, this was my tip.
No, who else was the chosen one?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, thanks everybody for playing. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that. And thanks everybody that was watching. It was nice to have you with us. Feel free to follow this nonsense retroactively or never again, depending on how you feel. But either way, thanks everybody and goodbye. Say goodbye everybody.
Good.
Goodbye,